Okay, welcome to the Clutch Kick. After a bit of technical difficulties, we're still having issues with Skype for some reason, but we're kind of going now. I think the view is a little bit weird compared to normal. But anyway, I'm one of your hosts. I'm not sure where I am on the screen. My name's EG, and on the left or right or somewhere on the screen is Greg Merriman.
I'm sitting between the two of you.
Okay, so probably somewhere up that way.
You just shoved your hand into my butt.
Okay. And our special guest for today is Mark Martin, also known as the Taxi Drifter, I think.
I thought it was just known as Old.
Old taxi guy. Come on, guys.
Old taxi guy.
Study before you organise this.
I've watched some of your vlogs.
Only some of them.
Well,
I must admit, I've only actually watched one. I'm not a...
Unbelievable.
I'm on YouTube, but not a huge amount.
you're just rude, mate.
I am. Okay, so to begin with, as always, we start off with some news. I'm not too sure if you've gathered too much, Greg.
Not a crazy amount. Just I guess the weekend past at the exhibition round at Odaiba for D1 GP, they had the two Supras make their debut.
Yep.
Cal Barter's car is actually VIN number 1. Like that's the first. That's literally it's VIN number 1. Somebody took a picture of the VIN number on in the engine bay, and it's number 1. So that's pretty cool to know. You would have thought maybe, considering Daigo's was sort of leaked first, that he might have ended up with number 1, or number 1 was going to be used as a collector's car or something. But yeah, he's his number 1.
Yep.
And then Daigo had the engine fire. The internet is really full of dickheads, isn't it? Like all these people like cheering, like, see, that's right between you put a 2J in it and all this sort of shit. And you're just like, fuck, are you serious? Like, can we not appreciate the fact that another car company has bothered to make a rear drive manual car from factory, and that's the attitude that we're gonna carry with, where in a few years everybody's gonna be butthurt that you're gonna have to use older and older cars because we're stuck with all sorts of modern stuff. So yeah, I don't know. That's
I think that's just the internet. That's just normal.
yeah. But that's all I really caught from that round. It was we've posted up the 2 videos, one from Saturday, one from Sunday, in the Clutch Kick community group. But EG and I both found that, well, number 1, it's in Japanese, so not the easiest thing to understand, but the format was a bit weird too. Lots of stunt bike riding and freestyle FMX and like all sorts of stuff going on. And I think the big announcement with the 2 car, like the introduction of the 2 cars, they kept doing like unveilings and letting them have their own laps, and there was all sorts of crazy stuff going on. So
I reckon they were the key, was it, draw cards for that event.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
That's probably why they kept pumping them. But just besides that, it wasn't like a normal sort of D1 round where you have like the qualifying and the competition. You also had some other weird sort of drifting event. I don't know how to describe it, but it was a competition, but it was kind of like a sideshow field event.
And then the other thing that I sort of took note of is Team Orange with the Linglong, and literally that, I'm not being racist here. The name of the company is Linglong Tires, and I was a bit upset to see. Is it Suonaga's car? No, am I getting right? Yeah, it's Suonaga's car.
I think I don't know if he owns it, but it is like his car.
But I was a bit upset to see him not orange and all that stuff. So yeah, I don't know. It'll take a little while to get used to. It was like a super generic, boring looking car for Suonaga. So, but knowing him and him driving those cars, well, he should still kill it. But yeah, Linglong Tires, definitely a well-named well-named brand that definitely go on places. Sounds like the sort of tyres that Mark's probably got on his taxi.
Cheap ones.
Yeah, that's it.
Bloody cheap ones.
Last long tyres.
Yeah.
But I think other than that, I think yeah, everything's been a little bit quiet other than D1. This weekend coming is D1 NZ, Pukekohe round with Jake Jones over there driving. That car he's had some dramas with it. I think it was a stroked motor or a built motor, and when Ken Gucci had driven it, had done a head gasket, so they've just put a stock motor into it. So he's geared up and ready to drive this weekend. And I think that's pretty much it at this stage. Oh, the official list for FD is out, and it's like 37 drivers, I think, which should make.
That's big, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty big. Like, since the introduction of Pro 2, that's I think been their biggest field, which is good. Which will mean less buy runs this year, and some sort of insider info that I've heard is at this stage Mitch Lana is doing round 1 and then trying to find the funds to make the rest of the season work. So fingers crossed that he can get some support and make that work. But yeah, that's next weekend, so we'll probably cover that more in a couple of weeks. And then, is it this weekend? No, it's still a couple of weeks this weekend before next round of SA, right, Mark?
13th of April.
Okay, yeah, so.
My birthday. Sorry, I got interrupted then. I was on Pornhub on the side here, sorry.
as long as you
13th of April.
As long as you keep the camera that high, we should be safe.
That's right. I'm sitting here with just a t-shirt on just to let you know what's going on. Yeah, 13th of April, Saturday, and I think it's a late start because there's a buck show on at the go-kart track in the morning, so we've got a late start midday, and I think we go through till about 9, and then full day on the Sunday.
Gonna be a rough one on everybody then. Would have been. I think everybody would have preferred the late start on Sunday, so they could get dusty on Saturday night.
Should have had a late start the other week at Malala, because there was 3 or 4 guys that had to drink a lot of water and sit out for a while until they blew the breath right.
Well, yeah, I saw.
I'm not saying any more about that.
But, I think those boys did a good job of advertising it themselves, considering I saw a lot of Instagram stories and a lot of Facebook stories that went into the early hours of the morning, because I think it sounds like a lot of people were there camping, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was a good night. Yeah, I better try that. Might make me drive better. They all seem to go pretty good, the ones that got sloshed. So yeah. But yeah, no, it was good night. I did sneak off a bit early because I'm fairly bloody old and I was knackered. So I went to my van, which I'm sitting in now, and downloaded my GoPro so they were ready for the next day. But yeah, good night.
More organised than most of the guys then.
Well, not really, but I was just tired. I want to go to bed.
Actually, did we get a age on Kev? I don't know which one's older.
On who?
Kevin. I think he's
Kevin Flynn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he's way younger than me. Yeah.
So do you think you're the oldest?
I think so. Yeah, I've met Kevin a few times. First time over in Japan a few years back, but he used to come through to Tailem and Bend and do his stunt school there, so see him a fair bit. But yeah, he'd be disappointed if he was listening to this, because I'm guessing he's probably only about 45, 48, 49. I've thought I've been 58 all year. I've been saying until I got to the pub Friday night and a mate said, "No, when you're born?" I said 61, and he said, "No, you're only 57." And I had to Google it just to make sure. And I am actually only 57, so 58 on the 13th, which is sort of a good thing, but also a bad thing. It just means it's another year till I can get to the bloody pension.
I think with a drift habit now, you ain't getting on the pension anytime soon, mate.
I need it. I don't think I'll be alive by the time the pension comes around, but we're having fun anyway.
So, I guess using the age as sort of the run in for it, why drifting and how long ago?
Um, Sort of been in motorsport all my life, like 12, 13 years of age, racing motocross, then changed to speedway motorbikes when I was about 16. And yeah, just always liked racing, sort of got okay with the speedway and raced over in England for 3 years. Over there, it's all teams racing. So I managed to make Canterbury team, Canterbury Crusaders. Rode for them, married a Pommy bird, came back here, worked on the family farm for a while, but she didn't really like it on the farm, so I ended up moving to Adelaide and worked as a croupier at the Adelaide Casino for 10 years. So always been into motorsport, and then my son started racing, all that stuff. So ended up having a couple of midnight life crises, not really, but after I got divorced about 22 years ago, thought, hey, time for me to have a little bit of fun. So I'd been spending time with my son also over in England. He was racing over there. So got back into the speedway and just got a speedway car and raced that for a year or two. But yeah, I ended up selling that. I had a couple of good mates that used to come and help me as mechanics, but half the time we'd get to a meeting and they'd say, oh, we're just going across to the bar for a beer, and I wouldn't see them until 11 o'clock at night. So I ended up doing everything my bloody self. So just ended up selling the speedway car, and it was weird. I went to Stadium Drift at Tailem Bend, so the track there, the old Talem's track, and only 4 minutes from where I live. Went and had a look, and it just looked like bloody good fun. Do it by yourself. If the car breaks down, you load up, you go home. So I just ended up annoying lots of people. I found blokes on Facebook like Simon Mitchellmore and guys like that, and pestered them with questions, and just thought it'd be something good for an old bloke to do, and I can rock up whenever I wanted to, nice and close to home. So that's how I got into it.
I guess drawing it back a little bit back to moving to the UK to ride and do all that sort of stuff, was that you like the primary reason that you moved over there was purely to race?
Yeah, well, if you're any good at speedway in Australia solos, you go to England and you have a crack at making a living. So, like over in England at the moment, I'm guessing there's probably 30 to 40 guys making a living, and it's just the start of their season. So I just rode second division, so I got paid, but I didn't make a living out of it. I was too busy with all my mates at the pub and stuff like that. And the Canterbury team, we had 7 riders in a team. We had 2 South Africans, 2 Aussies, and the rest were English, and we lived in the same town, which is pretty unusual for a speedway team. So when we weren't racing, we seemed to be at the pub most of the time. So probably the best 2 or 3 years of my life. I loved it. So over there racing and stuff. So, but yeah, you give it a crack, and everyone wants to race a speedway bike in England. So that's sort of how we moved over to there. But you'd only go over there for 6 months of the year. So you just live there for 6 months and then come back to Australia and race. And if you were sort of okay, they'd pay your airfares and all that sort of stuff. So it was a good lifestyle there for a couple of years.
And was that a paid gig, or you having to work while you were there as well?
I worked the first year. I didn't work. The second year I did, because in second division we were getting £8 a point, which is 3 points if you win a race, 2 for second, 1 for third, and you'd get about 5 races a night. So you know, it wasn't real good money. The better riders might have been on £20 a point. The first division riders might have been on £80 a point. So it all depends how good you are. So it'd help you survive, but by no way was I good enough to make a living out of it. But so I just worked the second year part time on a farm and raced, and I could sort of race whenever I wanted to. A lot of the time, you might have a week where you'd race 3 nights a week, 4 nights a week if we went on the Scottish tours. So it's all over the place. Then you mightn't race for 2 weeks, sort of thing. So, but yeah. So.
And was that just because I'm like super interested in it, and that sort of stuff in England is purely so they like a gambling thing, I'm guessing, so that it's on so that people can bet on races?
No, you can bet on the races these days, I think, with all their lacing, but it's not a gambling known for being a gambling sport. It's sponsors and people, the crowds and that. Like in the old days, like at Canterbury, we'd get probably 3,500 there.
Jesus Christ!
And that was just the second division team, and but it's gone downhill heaps. A lot of the first division tracks now in England might be struggling to make 1,000 people watching, so it has gone down a bit. But then you go, the top guys are also racing in Poland and places like that where they might be getting 15,000 to their team meeting. So it's teams. It's like following the soccer.
Yeah.
You follow your team. You have busloads of supporters travelling around following you, and so that's the main thing about it. It's a teams competition.
No, that's cool. Like,
Then,
yeah.
and then so,
I made more money by breaking bones, so I was covered with American Combined Insurance, which my old man sort of told me to do, and I didn't break any bones in Australia. Over there, I broke a wrist, broke a collarbone, and dislocated the shoulder, and luckily they were all 3 different crashes, so that way I was to get 3 lots of insurance. So that was basically what was going on there. But I wasn't that good, but I was just good enough to get into a team, which is it's a fight just to get into a team over there. So back in those days, 1981, 82 and 83, when I first rock up there, you're not that well known. You rock up there and they have the teams meeting, and they have what they call the second half rides. So they have an interval break, and then you get out on the track and you're out there with all the young local hot shots and everyone that's trying to make it into the team. So it's pretty cutthroat. So you're out there. So that's sort of
and then so what happens if you like a consistent winner? Do you actually, is the next step just moving to another country again, or is
no,
do they
well,
progress to something else?
if you're good enough, you'll go up. You ask for more money, but normally you'll get signed up by a first division team. So back in my day, there was probably 10 second division teams and 10 first division teams floating all around England. So, and these days over there, like Jason Doyle was from Australia, won the World Championship not last year, the year before, and we also had Jason Holder, who won it, I think it was probably about 4 years ago. Those guys would be on over 100 pound a point if they're racing in England, and they'd be on like 150, 180 pound a point if they're racing in Poland and places like that. So pretty good money, but you're also risking your life 3 or 4 nights a week sort of thing. Yeah. So it's not like riding super bikes where you go out, have, I don't know, 10 practices a year and 20 race meetings. These guys will do that in 1 week, the good guys, so, or in 2 weeks sort of thing. So it's mainly just teams racing. And then the top guys obviously make it into the World Championships, and so...
Well, yeah, that's why I thought it might have been a gambling thing, like doing that many nights in a week. I figured it was like a bit like horse racing or you know, like greyhound racing. They try and pump as much on as they can so that people, are stuck gambling each night of the week type thing. But yeah, I didn't expect that it would be that well followed, that people are showing up on weeknights in droves to show up and just watch guys go out there and try and kill themselves basically. But
it's a great sport to watch. You would have seen it, I suppose, on Fox and that. Each race takes 1 minute, so there's a bit of action all the time. It doesn't get boring, but
and no brakes, right?
No brakes, just one gear, and gear, clutch, and away you go. But you change your gears and stuff in between each race, so you're changing your gearing, and that's the way the track goes as it slickens off and all that sort of stuff. So there's lots of things changing, your timing, changing different jets in the car. My son raced for 5 years over there. He was signed up by Oxford when he was 15, so he went over there when he was 15, and to support him, I went over there with him because obviously he couldn't drive, so I drove him around, but I was a mechanic for a couple of different Aussie first division riders, so they'd pay me just to clean their bikes and do all the things like tyre changing and gear changes at the meetings. So it just made enough money that I could stay over there with my son and help him out a bit.
Yeah.
Good fun, great sport.
Yeah, I think a lot of people spend too much time trying to earn money, thinking that they're going to live some false dream rather than doing what it sounds like you've done during your sort of teen to early adult years, and then being able to help your son doing, and just, you know what, pack up and go live it. Like, you want to make it happen, just go and do it, because it's not going to be there forever.
Yeah, well, that's right. No, it's just brilliant. We went with my son. He got signed up before he went over because he'd gone all right in the juniors, and so they had a place for us to stay when we got to Oxford. They had a family for us to stay. I think they paid for our first month or two for board, and then after that, the family only charged us like £20 for both of us a week for board. So And all the top guys, though, they get supplied vans and bikes and everything supplied for them. So, but you got to be good to get that far. So,
Oh, honestly, I did not expect this conversation to go that direction. That's so cool. Yeah, it's super cool and
great sport. I still follow it. I look on all the results and all that because, like I said, there's Aussies and that over there racing now that I still know, and so you want to see how they're going. And like probably who we got in South Australia now? Probably Aaron Summers has been over there for 4 or 5 years now. No, probably longer, probably 7 or 8 years, and always follow, see how he's going. Young lad from Salisbury way. So, but there's heaps of these new ones that I don't know that are over there. Aussies just seem to be pretty good at it because we've got a good training ground in the juniors with the Sidewinders junior bikes and stuff like that. So the Aussies just seem to be good when they get over there.
yeah, I just knew it was big in sort of the more Eastern European countries and a little bit in the Scandinavian countries, but I didn't realize it was that massive in the UK, which probably
It's dropped off in the
yeah.
UK. There's probably been 5 or 6 tracks closed down, I reckon, in the last 3 years or so. So crowds aren't that good, so they're sort of relying on sponsors and things like that. And I don't know if it's still on TV. It used to be on every Monday night on Sky Sports over there. There'd be a teams meeting. So I think they still do have a TV event once a year. So once a week, I mean. So yeah.
And so I guess before we move away from that stuff, I guess what's your fondest memory like of your personal experience, like not when you've been over there with your son, but as the athlete over there doing, like what was your favorite part of the whole experience on, like, it doesn't matter on which trip?
This is a good question because I'd forgotten about this, and I was actually racing second division for Canterbury, and I was at my girlfriend's at the time, who I ended up married at, her parents' place for lunch one Sunday. We'd raced at Canterbury the night before, which was only about a kilometre down the road, right in the city centre. The track was around the soccer pitch, and my bikes, I had a Mark II Cortina, I think they were called back in the day, and you'd have a bike rack on the back with the Speedway bike on it. And our team manager, back in those days, no mobile phones and shit. So my team manager rocks up at our door in his car and says, who was it? Phil Crump, who was one of the top riders back in the day, had broken his wrist, and there was a test match between Australia, England, USA, and Denmark. So a 4-way test match, and they were riders short. So, and I was the closest guy. I was like 45 minutes away, and said, "Get down there, you're getting a ride." So went down there and got to race for Australia. Obviously, I was pretty shit, but so was the rest of the Australian team. And I remember it clearly. This top English rider, Dave Jessup, broke down in a race, and I came in third, so I got 1 point, and I was the only guy to score for Australasia. So top scored for the country, and you still get people tell me they still do that quiz over in England on quiz nights at Speedway things, and obviously no one knows because I was not very well.
What?
So that was my couple of minutes of fame. But yeah, other than that, just travelling around with the boys and going to Speedway meetings and racing over in France and stuff like that. So yeah, pretty cool.
How old were you roughly during that time?
19,
Yeah.
19, 20, 21, around that area.
Yeah.
Then came back to Australia, ended up getting married, and we stayed on the family farm for a year. But I blamed it on the ex that she didn't like it on the farm, but I actually got on a lot better with Dad when I wasn't working on the farm. I had an older brother running the farms then, so I was quite happy to move to Adelaide at that stage. But after we got divorced, I moved back to Tailem Bend, which is near the farm, so that was 22 years or so ago. So always wanted to live on the river because we'd had a shack on the river when I was younger, so managed to get a nice little house at Tailem.
So I guess then moving more into the drifting stuff. So you rode Speedway on the bike and you drove Speedway as well in.
That was later on. That was
Yep.
what I called my midlife crisis. I had
Yep.
an MCAR National, probably trying to work out, it's probably about 8 years or so ago now. I had an MCAR National. I think I raced that for a year or two, which was a great little class. I'd always liked them. They were a set chassis with a Holden front end. They all had to have a 253 Holden V8 in them, and they were very regulated with what tyres you could do. So the class is still around, great class. So I did that, but then I just got sick of trying to find mechanics and stuff. You really need a mechanic at the Speedway. So, and at that same time was when I noticed the drifting at Tailem Bend. So that's how I got into the drifting. But then I ended up, I got an S14, and which was in that photo you had there, and probably did it for about 3 or 4 years. And that's when I went for that trip over to Japan. I just got up, I just sold a houseboat I had, and I thought, bugger it, I'm going to go across to Japan. And I obviously wasn't that good at that stage, still not that good, but went over there. But I learned heaps when I went for that trip over to Japan. I had guys like Tom Monkhouse and Christian Pickering, those guys all over there who I sort of knew of, but I hadn't never met them. So they were great. They've all introduced themselves and offered me rides in their cars, and they'd come in my car and show me what's going on. So yeah, and Stewie was over there too that time. So I think that was about 2012, so however long that was. But then the track shut up at Tailem Bend, and I didn't want to travel to Malala all the time, so I actually got back into the Speedway again and raced a wingless sprint for a couple of years, and then a mod light for a couple of years. And then the track opened at Tailem, so thought getting a bit old now, so at the Speedway I'd be cramping up after 3 or 4 laps because I'm not the fittest guy you've ever seen. So, but I still like the racing, but thought we'd get back into the drifting and have another bit of a crack.
And I guess the culture differences between the two sports, do you find that the drifting is a little bit more relaxed than what Speedway is like?
Yeah, definitely. Speedway's good too. It depends what class you're in. You get into the speed cars and the wingless, they're pretty shit. I'm only saying that because I just saw that Brett Island's watching, and he's one of the top sprint speed car drivers going around the place. So he's having a bit of a crack there. So no, it depends. A lot of the class, Speedway's pretty good too. The mod lights we had, every class I've been in, it's been pretty good. People come up to you and help you and that. So same sort of thing, but probably just a little bit more serious, and especially when you get up a class like Brett's racing the speed cars now. You for a good speed car, you're probably looking at 50 to 80, 60,000 or something for a decent one. You can get cheaper, but so there's a bit more money in it, and especially the guys that are racing the big sprint cars. So it'd be costing those guys $1 million to run a season, I suppose, for not a real lot of money. I'm guessing that a bit there. There's blokes like Brett and that'll come back and say maybe it's not that dear, but the top guys would be spending a lot of money to race the sprint cars.
And were you doing that? Were you doing that nationally or just sticking to South Australia?
My Speedway was just South Australia. Okay. I think we might have gone, mainly South Australia. Yeah, Murray Bridge has got a good Speedway track, and there's plenty around Renmark, Waikerie, Adelaide back in the day. So I'm just parked here. I've got people driving past in the cab. I'm parked at work. I'm actually got my cab parked outside, so I'm just taking a while off work. So driving past, looking at me. So I'm not actually drinking this West End draft because I've got to bloody go back to work. Annoy a few people.
Brett Island just said a Toyota speed car engine is 80k new, just for the engine.
New.
Jesus.
There you go. I'm not reading it all. I reckon the first time, I reckon Ken there that's replying, Ken was over at Abisu. Is it Abisu or Abusu? He was there the year that I was there too. I think I sort of knew him a bit. Yeah, he was over there. And stop saying you're a legend, Mark Martin. You're taking the piss now, Ken Leon. I'm up for a joke, but don't take the piss. Top Toyota Speedway can, 80,000 like Brett's saying. So yeah, it's a bloody expensive sport. Whereas speed, the top guys obviously with the drifting too are spending a lot of money too. But you can get into it cheap and have a lot of fun. But I'd say it's hard to work out what's the most expensive. I don't think I've been to a drift meeting this year where it's cost me under $900. By the time I've entered for 300 or 250, $300 and a couple $100 in an E85 and then 3 sets of tyres, I'm looking, up around that $700-800 each time. Yeah. Then I've done a clutch at one where it's cost me another bloody $1,000 on top, and just had my car tuned now, and it's cost me $1,900. So it's not cheap, and I'm hoping I've got the car all sorted out now, and I can just get out and have a bit of fun. So, but people will say use second-hand tyres like Stewie does, but I'm too lazy to be changing tyres after a couple of laps.
I agree with that.
I'd rather pay $75 for a 18-inch tyre, and a lot of the time I might only go through 2 sets, but I'm hoping more now that we've found a bit more power in my car, because when I got it dynoed the other day, they said it was only putting out 150 and it's supposed to be putting out 280, so he's got up to 280. So had to inject the stuck, and I had the fuel pump not working properly, so should be looking forward to giving it a bit of a drive at Tailem in a few weeks' time.
So that was at the last round of Mellor, because I think you were competing there.
Yeah, just in L2. So yeah, I think I ended up coming about 3rd or 4th. But a lot of the good guys in that class, they had breaks down. Matty Weens had a breakdown who won the first round. So I think I did a bit of a Bradbury to get into a 3rd position or 4th. Whatever it is.
Hey,
so,
half the battle of motorsport is keeping your car together and making it to the end.
Yeah. But all good fun.
So I guess this is probably something that most people won't think about, and it's sort of more because of my background in sport. So with doing all the living in England when you were young and doing a complete like sort of adrenaline junkie sport, and then sort of continuing that through life, do you think that's why you keep looking for sort of the next thrill, and as you get into, as you get older, you find sort of a safer way of doing it, but still looking for that same sort of drug? Like,
I thought you were going to say that's why you keep looking fit and healthy, but you've gone on with something else there. Yeah, I don't know. I just like doing things different. My doctor reckons I've got this disease where my brain thinks I'm 18 years age all the time. So I've got radio controlled airplanes. I haven't flown them much lately, but I love that sort of stuff. I've got probably 5 or 6 of them at home, with a jet and a couple other ones that sort of do 160 kilometres an hour, and I've got ones that just you can do indoors. So I love all that sort of stuff, and radio controlled speedboats. So I don't know, I just like all that sort of stuff. So. And I've got a couple of other plans later on in life too. I don't know if I'll ever get the money at the moment, but paramotoring. So that's the paramotoring with the motor on your back and the parachute, and you just take off either running, which I won't be doing the running, or you can buy a trike with them. So that's I've just been watching that on YouTube for the last 2 years, and it's the safest form of flying you can do. So a lot of people think, oh no, that's crazy, but you look into it, it's pretty safe. So if you actually turn your motor off before you come into land and all that stuff. So that's something I'd like to do, 2 or 3 years down the track, and just cruise around the river and stuff like that. But
did you ever take a break? Did you ever take a break from doing anything sort of motorsport related? And if you did, how long was sort of your longest time?
Yeah, probably not, because when Sam, my son, he was racing Pee-wees when he was like 4 years of age. So he raced right up Speedway and changed to Speedway when he was 8 or 9, and then race. So we were doing some sort of racing. My Alzheimer's setting in. I probably had a few years after I got divorced, and that I wasn't doing too much, but yeah, probably 2 or 3 years where I didn't do anything. So connected with Speedway anyway. So.
Yeah, and then you sort of just felt and then you had that itch to just you felt the itch to try and get back out there.
I was always in the back of my head. I was always going to get a racing car at one stage once I'd finished sort of with my son and trying to help him out and all that sort of stuff. And I probably enjoyed being with him more than me racing. It's just, I don't know if you guys got kids, but it's pretty exciting watching your kids going around, even if it's on a little Pee-wee 50. It's good fun. So, yeah, just as much fun as doing it yourself. But I always wanted to get out and have a bit of a crack myself. I think I always thought I was a little bit better than what I thought I was, so I'd always be having a crack. But yeah, I just enjoy it.
Yeah, I only asked because I think a lot of people who have done the things that you've done and the things I've done at a young age, you sort of find that all of a sudden when it's all gone, you're like, oh crap, like I need something else to keep me going or to keep me busy and give that next feeling rather than, you know, how some of these footballers and stuff turn to playing in the snow and playing in the ice and doing all that sort of stuff instead of actually going out there and finding a use to life. They end up on drugs and bashing women and doing dumb shit. So I think it's just, yeah, always looking for that next thing to keep you busy, and it sounds like through life you've done that. And I think you're a little bit crazy looking at that you're about to turn 60 and then you want to go throw yourself around with a parachute and a motor attached to your back. But
58, thanks, 58.
Said about to turn 60.
Well, that's a long way. That's 2 years away. But I like the comments. There's a couple of blokes that have come up to me and just said, "Hey, great seeing you out there having a crack." And they've actually said to me, it gives me a bit of hope when they get old, what they're going to do when they're old, and seeing someone else out there having a bit of a crack. And you know, I know there's a lot of young guys out there now that are getting married. They're going to have kids, so they're going to have to slow down because it is bloody expensive. But once they get all sorted out in another 10, 15 years' time, they know they can go back and have another crack. If they're a good job, they can do it all the way through. Good luck to them. But but
so
obviously,
so when you're playing bingo on a Friday night with all your other late 50s people that aren't involved with speedway or anything like that.
I'm starting to go right off you.
What do they think about you like with sort of the drifting and stuff like that? Like, any idea about it at all? Like, sort of your non-motorsport friends, or they're all a bit like, are you like absolutely nuts?
Probably think I'm a bit crazy. Weird you should say that, because I was my other thing that I was doing before I got back into it when I was about 30, I was actually played lawn bowls. I was in the South Australian lawn bowls side and won a few championships at Tail and Bend and stuff. So I'm being big-headed now, but I played a lot of lawn bowls. I was flat out into it, and so then when I'd stop playing bowls because I'm going speedway racing, a few people would look at me a bit weird, like. So, but yeah, I know most of them have known me for a long time. They just think I'm a bit of an idiot, I suppose. I don't know. If you see any of those ones on the thing, on the riding there where they say Pom, that's me. That's my nickname, Pommy.
Yeah, sort of figured that, but thank God you don't have an accent.
A lot of people think it's because I raced over in England, but it's actually because I turned up at the farm shearing shed one day eating pomegranate seeds, and one of the rouseabouts in the shearing shed started calling me Pommy, and it just spread. So that's how I got Pommy. Nothing to do with England at all. And just to let you know, for any quizzes that you go into and you get a question, how many seeds in a pomegranate? 613. Okay, you can Google it. But it's a handy one to know. 613 seeds in a pomegranate.
Is that in every single one of them?
No, well, I think they average it out. It'd be a bit stupid because some are smaller than others. But if you Google it, it'll say 613. We've got all 28 viewers. That's all right. You guys usually only get about 7.
You're doing good.
I know.
We're gonna get you on every week because your numbers are good.
I gave all my cousins $5 each just to get on here and watch. Get it up a little bit. So.
You got to do whatever you need to do.
I'm just trying to put you guys out.
So I guess
get the thumbs up going, guys.
Too busy getting the laughs going.
Yeah.
I guess.
What was the last question? I interrupted.
I don't know. I'm a bit off it now. Maddie wants to know: Is Sam going to join in with the drifts?
He was gonna have a drive, go to Millicent with me, but he had something on. He doesn't race speedway anymore, but he raced my speedway car a few years ago, and he raced my Model Light. Being a bike rider, he's a bit crazy, so I was glad to get him out of the car for a little while. We've got a few plans, but he's not really into drifting. I think he just doesn't want to do something his old man does, but I think he'd be quite happy to get up to X Park one weekend with me, because we get on pretty well. We do a lot of camping and stuff together, and bike riding, like dirt bike riding and stuff out on the farm. Probably not so much these days, but I think he'd enjoy just getting out there in there on it. in the drift car, but I don't think he's really wants to get into it big time. Just go out and have a bit of fun maybe, but he's got other cars he'd like to race, but that all depends on money. I think if we ever got into the money, we'd probably go get into a cheap speed car or something, the next thing for him, or there's a couple of road race classes we like, but that's a long way off and we probably won't ever have the money for him anyway, so but we'll see what happens. But I'm pretty sure one day he'll just come out for a bit of fun with me, and I'm pretty sure he'll probably be better than me after about bloody 5 minutes. So, and he'll soon let me know too. I don't know. Hey Sam, you write something if you're watching. I don't think you'd be watching.
It's really annoying when young kids do that. They just come along and they get the hang of it like second time out. And meanwhile, when you're back in the day, you spend like a year trying to get the car sideways. And
when I first started, I had trouble with my car, and it's weird when you got into drift. And when I got there, no one had talked to me. Here's this old guy rocked up, and my car was going shit. I don't even know what it's called, but what's the boost thing? It had a spring in it. I don't know what all that's called.
The wastegate?
No, I'm talking about the motor. The SR20 DET motor had something going, and it wasn't getting boost or something. And it took me about 3 meetings, 4 meetings to work it out. So I looked like a right goose going around there. And then as I gradually got better, people would come up and start talking to me. Then they said, "Oh, can we come for a ride with you?" So at the start, no one really wanted to know me. But then as I got better, more people thinking, "Oh, shit, he can actually get around a little bit." So that's how it was at the start anyway. But
So I guess considering you've come from a sideways background already, I guess what was your sort of time period on learning? Did you sort of have people jump in with you and give you some tips, or you just went out there and tried to drop a skid pretty much?
just YouTube, went on YouTube, watched as many as I could, looking at especially the in-car camera ones. So it's what they're doing with the gears and that, and messaging people. With Speedway, a lot of the times you with your left foot braking that all the time. So I was sort of wondering whether you left foot braking at all when you're drifting and stuff. And it sounds like a couple of them do now at certain times around the track.
You're ahead of your time.
Yeah,
you're ahead of drifting's time.
Yeah, well, I was asking that because I just thought when you don't want to change down, just a little tap here and there with your left foot, and it sounds like a few people do it now. But in a speedway car like a wingless sprint, it's all left foot. That's all you got. The sprint car guys, the big the big sprint car guys, they practically just hold it flat out and use their brake to get around the corner. So a lot of the time I can't remember what it is now, but I think you haven't got a brake on your front left, it's on your front right, and sort of as you put the brake on, it helps you turn. Or is it on the front left? I've forgotten now. But that's too long ago. The Alzheimer's, I told you, they're setting in a bit. But yeah, I don't know. Just getting back to the question, I was fucking good within about 2 minutes out on the track. If the car was good, it would have been a lot quicker, but would have learned a lot better, or quicker. But it didn't really take long once I had a car that was actually running okay. And like I said, when I just bit the bullet and went over to Ibisu, that's where I learnt the most. Just being with those guys like Tom Monkhouse and them, Christian Pickering, and just simple things. Probably the simplest thing that I learnt when I was over there that no one had ever told me was, Chris DeJager was over there too. That was the first time I met Chris, and that's the car I've got now. Was Chris's ex Thrash King's car, the Seffi. Was when you're using the handbrake, give it a dab of foot brake at the same time, so it takes a bit of weight off the back. And no one had ever told me that. And as soon as I started doing that, going in the corner, the back was locking up bloody easy. So it's probably something everyone else knew except for me. So
yeah, but see, people don't know that that's why they do it. I did it to start with because I drove like a pussy. So I'm scared, so I'm dabbing the brake and grabbing the handbrake to try and slow down, where I'm guessing because of your background with doing all sorts of crazy shit, you were just like, alright, I'm going to keep it pinned and reef up the handbrake, trying to carry as much speed as possible, where the average person probably a little bit more like me is like, ah, shit, this is scary. Here comes the corner. I better hit the brakes and then grab the handbrake, and that's why it would sort of skate out. So don't feel too bad. If the
Yeah,
average person knows that better than you, they're probably driving like a pussy, and that's why they know.
yeah, once I got told it though, it did help heaps just going into those corners and giving it a dab and lightening up the back end a bit. So yeah, just learned heaps over there. And I what's the comp they have on the Friday over there?
G1?
We're at there.
G1.
That was that. You were over there that time, were you, Age?
I think you only get there once, didn't you?
I've only been there once. Yeah.
Yeah, I was there.
You were there, yeah. So that comp on the Friday was at Minami track, and so I think there was about 32 and actually qualified 14th. So I think I just fluked a good run in there in my old Surfy at that stage. So, I remember.
I think it was a pretty tough comp, that one.
So you've qualified 14th.
There's a lot of good drivers.
So you've qualified
Kevin
14th. You've qualified 14th at G1, but you drive AM at the Summer Series in South Australia. I'm calling some bullshit on this.
All right, there was a lot of. We've been having that bit of an argument on Facebook last night because the power of your car for racing L2. Look, I've been out of it for a while, and I'm actually driving shit, and and when I get into the battles, I'm pretty shit. I tell you what, if I think I'm good enough, I'm going to jump up there and have a crack. So that doesn't bother me. But we have had a few discussions about whether not my driving skill, but whether my car is too powerful for L2. So. But we're going to wind the boost down and take 3 spark plug leads off and just get it down. Because I know that my driving skill isn't good enough, and I don't want to take down the L1 level of how they're going. But if I improve a bit, I'm all right with the lead run, but my chase runs are shit. So I've just got to improve on that. I'm all right when I'm out by myself on practice days, but as for actual comps, I'll admit I'm not that flash, but I'm hoping to improve. I'm still young. I can learn.
I've seen some of the videos from the SA series, and the level 2 guys aren't they're not bad. They're pretty tough as well. So I think they don't understand how high that level is over there in South Australia. I think the skill level in South Australia is actually, I think, generally higher than most other places.
Yeah, well, all the ones that have won it or come second in the first 2 rounds, I reckon are plenty good enough to go up into L1. But it's just the equipment and stuff, and I've sort of got my theory on all of that too, which we might talk about later, about how the competitions are run now. But I don't want to get in an argument with Stewie about it. But
who doesn't argue with Stewie?
Is that because...
we might as well talk a bit about it now, but I love the way that Stewie's done it and got it all organised, and it's brilliant if you're a top 8 driver because you're going to get second chances, or one of the top 8 drivers in the state, you're going to get second chances to get through. I'm a bit old-fashioned with a cutthroat where you have your run, and if you miss it, you're out, sort of thing. So
yeah.
It gives you that chance to someone to do a Bradbury and, make the top 4 or something that maybe shouldn't do it. But at the moment, the way, and I love the system, how it is, but I just think at the moment, it's always going to be out this group of eight guys that are always going to be winning it. There's not going to be any fluke it.
I think the system should take away the flukes because they're looking for consistency, though.
Yeah, well, that is good. So trying to get me in the shit now, aren't you? But
no. I'm not.
That's just the way I see it. Even if they just did the old comp once a year, I'd be in it with a shot because it wouldn't bother me. I'll go up against the best.
I get what you mean. Yeah.
I get knocked out, I'm knocked out. But I know there's a lot of blokes that are pretty good in South Australia that are probably in that top 12, 13, 14 that will probably never get down into the top 8. But for the crowd and for the top drivers, yes, it's a great system. So I'm going to backtrack here and say it's a brilliant system.
No.
I'm pretty sure Stewie won't be watching this anyway because he doesn't like any of these sort of things. So probably safe.
Only if he's on it.
Except my YouTube channel. Yeah. Don't forget, guys, Old Taxi Drift Guy on YouTube. Just doing a quick plug because you guys are in a bit slow. Got 95 followers now. It's huge.
We usually leave the plugs to the end, but that's right. We can keep
That's
plugging
all right.
it.
I'm going to
the
sneak
show.
a couple in.
Yeah.
You guys aren't
What-
paying me
what-
much, so I'm going to sneak in as much as I can.
Yeah, we peaked up near 30 people, so you probably dropped it at the right time.
Yeah, that's yeah.
See, I definitely agree with you. For me, I prefer the cutthroat top 32 or top 16, whatever it works out to be style. But I think when you sort of break it down and it's at this stage sort of a whole bunch of segregated state competitions, it's sort of got the right place, especially this year for building SA back up again. But I wouldn't mind seeing moving forward once it's a little bit more established, the pro level moving back to that knockout format and then leaving that battle format for your L2 and stuff like that, so that you guys, like the guys driving L2, are getting more and more laps, and then the top guys are having to, you know, you've got to put it all on the line in those runs and move forward. But you get to test that out when you come to Mount Gambier, hopefully in October or whenever that round's supposed to take place, right?
That looks a bit scary. There's a few bloody. I see they've widened the track, but there's a few fences and trees and shit there. I want my car to last a little while, but we'll see how my driving's going by then. The videos I've seen, it looks pretty good fun down there. So
it's not nearly as it's intimidating, but it's not. Each year, I didn't do the first year, and that was the write-off year. And then the following year, I think I left one small mark on the back of my car. And then last year, I borrowed a mate's car, and I did absolutely no damage to the car other than smashing the gearbox. But that was poor driving on my behalf.
My car's pinballed down that before as well, and it's still driving.
Yeah, so no excuses. You should be right.
Talk me into we might give it a crack.
And how often do you get to legally throw your taxi down a street and do that? So
that's
legally.
Right. Not
legally.
Very often. I'm usually driving a Prius, so I've got to have it in reverse.
You can't say dirty things like that.
No, we've even got it. There's a front-wheel drive car there last year, actually. If you didn't see that.
No, I didn't see that one.
He's a weirdo anyway, so let's not talk about him. He almost rode off EG's car at the last track day.
Yeah.
So currently, what are you sitting in L2 of South Aussie?
I think I'm coming second, but there's like Matty, I think Matt's on watching there. Matty Ween, he had a shocker. His car, I think he did a back. I don't even know what all the parts are called in these cars, but something broke on it, so he practically missed out on the whole lot. But there is a round that you
drop.
Give away. You can drop it. Yeah, that's the word, drop.
Yeah.
I don't know all the technical term. Drop. It's not that big a word, is it? That you can drop. So yeah, what is there? 3 more rounds to go, or 2 or 3? So yeah, I don't really care. I'm just in it for a bit of fun. If I make the top 4 or something, it'll be good. But yeah, but at the moment we'll just make it sound as good as we can. Yeah, I'm coming bloody second.
So you've sort of half spoken about what you're driving. Do you want to give us a bit of a rundown on your Safiro?
Shit, yeah, got 4 wheels. I'm not that. Like I said, it's got an RB25 in. I'll tell you what I know. RB25 Neo, whatever the Neo means. It's the ex-Stewie Bryant one. If you would have seen it in Melbourne at some stage, the blue one that he raced for a while. He came second in a comp a couple of year or so. Don't remember?
No, I don't know it. I don't know it.
Had Thrash Kings written on the side of it. So whatever his team he was in called Thrash Kings. So RB25, I know they've just changed the injectors at this last tune because one was stuck in that. So it's got 1000cc injectors. They changed the fuel rail for some reason. I don't even know what turbo it's got on it, but it's putting out now about 280 kW. I don't know. It's got the normal diff and two-way diff or whatever it is. It's got a bit of shit in it. It's got Stewie steering, a Costal. So all his steering set up on it. It's got an external fuel tank or a separate fuel tank in the boot and an external fuel pump, I suppose you call that stuff. And That's about it. Got a half cage in it, so that's about all I know about it.
Did you get the car with the coastal gear?
Yep.
Okay.
From what
so
what Stewie said the other day, the Coastal gear was the second lot he ever made, and the first lot he sold, and then I think Spencer Martin's was the next lot. So it was one of the first lot that he sent over to, and for who did I say I bought the car off of?
Stewie.
No,
Chris?
Chris, yeah,
Oh,
Chris.
Jago, yeah.
That's it. That's that bloody Alzheimer's. It just sneaks in every now and again. Chris DeJager, yeah, Chris put it all in and set it all up. So, yeah, so the lot's good. It's great to drive, except I had a few problems the first round or the first few times. A few things came loose and stuff, but all perfect now. Love it.
Because you only grabbed that car just before this season started, right?
Yeah, I've only had it 6 months or something.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
So, yeah, I've only had 6 or 7 months. So
You had another Safiro before that?
that was the one in Japan. Can't you remember? You said you were over there.
Yeah, I thought you had one here though. Was it something else?
Nah, that was the S14, the first one. So, had an S14,
okay.
that's the first one. Never had a Cephid
Yeah.
before.
And
And I
Because
sold
there's a maroon one in Japan.
Yep, that's it, yep.
Yeah.
Christian Pickering ended up buying that off me and cutting it up in halves and sending it back and selling all the
Yeah.
bits.
Yeah, that's his business was at the time.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, because I always thought you had another one. It was yellow as well.
No.
No?
Must have been another fat taxi driver floating around somewhere. No, all I had was the S14, which I saw the other. I did that meeting at Millicent back about 3 or 5 weeks ago, and the bloke that boarded off me at Narracourt rocked up, and bloody hell, it looks better than when I had it.
and
Couldn't recognise it.
and that 14 was just really basic or a bit fancy?
Basic, yeah. Just what did they have, a T28 or something turbo on them, and I got some knuckles from someone. That was all that was changed, with some knuckles, and I think it was putting out 160 something.
Okay.
Like that. But a fun car to drive. It was good.
And that was up until you had the Safira, or did you?
Oh, then I sold it, and that's when I went back into Speedway for a little while.
That's why
So
the bend
three-
was
Okay.
closed.
So
Okay.
I had about 4 years, I suppose, out of this drifting, doing Speedway, and then I've only got back into the drifting like 6 months ago, 8 months ago.
Yeah,
Mm.
and he's basically Adam LZ already with his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Absolutely. just add 6 more zeros to it, and I'll be up close. So, I know a lot of people don't like the YouTube channels, but I just do it because I enjoy the editing, and hey, when I'm dead and gone, family and that'll be able to see how big an idiot I was. So.
I watched one of the videos and I thought it was really well put together.
Oh yeah, I don't muck around, Ege.
No.
I'm professional. But that last video I did, like I said, about people coming up and saying hello, I like your videos. I know you've only watched bloody one, so you probably haven't seen the last one. But there was a young guy, Matty. He might even be watching now, but he's 13 years old. Somehow he came across my shit channel and lives Athelston or somewhere in Adelaide, and he talked to his mum and dad to taking him to that meeting. And
Oh, no way.
to me, and he came up to me and said, "Oh, Matty, and I follow your YouTube, and his mum and dad were all there, and I can sit in your car." To me, that was better than winning the bloody event. It was just was good having a chat to him and seeing a young kid that had come all this way just to have a bit of a, because it was probably an hour and a half drive for his parents. So pretty cool, I thought. And
Yeah, that is awesome.
he's obviously probably got something wrong with him to want to follow my channel, but it was good. So just that, and people come up to say, "Oh, I watched your YouTube channel the other day." So I love all that shit. So definitely not in it to make any money. So, but,
What was your YouTube channel again?
you should know it off by heart. Come on, I'm going right off you. You should have done a bit of study. You should have had it written down in there.
Oh, that was it. That was a lead-in for you.
Guy. So old taxi drift. I'm expecting when I get off of this, it's going to be up to over 100 viewers, subscribers. It's free to subscribe, guys. Hey, and I'm doing a giveaway for the next meeting. Out of all the subscribers, I'm giving away for the next race meeting at Salem Bend, because I haven't got a mechanic, so I'll get 2 free tickets anyway. So there'll be a single ticket for 2 days for someone, and I'm going to pay $30 so they can have a passenger pass, so they can go with whoever they want to. So get on there and subscribe. I'm going to be putting them all into a hat. I think there's an app, and a week before I'm going to give that out to the winner. So it's probably going to be worth $50 or $60 to them. So get on there and subscribe. I should be a salesman, shouldn't I?
It's your next job.
Do you have an athlete? I don't think I could find an athlete page or anything on Facebook when I did the tagging last night. Or are you too?
It's would be under athlete. It'd be under the comedy section, I think.
Or are you too young? Or are you too young to have a Facebook page? Because Facebook's for old people. You're more on the Instagram, I'm pretty sure, because I think we got a like. I think we got a like from you.
Facebook's my main one. You got to look up Mark Martin. That's my main page. Is my Facebook.
No, but that's your own personal page. But I'm saying, do you have like an athlete page or a?
Hang on. I'm a computer. My house at Salem Bend's up on Airbnb. I just got a booking. You beauty. Just popped up on my screen. I just got another booking. I haven't been into my house since Christmas, or 2 weekends since Christmas. So I'm going to plug that a bit later, okay?
So we're gonna.
Anyone coming to Salem Bend, drifts, my house, Airbnb, just look it up. Salem Bend, look up Mark. Right on the river, you can go skiing, you can go fishing. All right, back to you guys.
You're up to 99 subscribers on YouTube.
Oh, you beauty, we're getting there.
I think Ken Leong wants to know if you're going to be paying for flights from people's home city to come and come and watch the round if they win.
Ken. No, Ken's sub. Thanks, Ken. I should be going to Ken's drift school, I think. No, sorry, Ken, I'm not that rich. So if you want to fly over, Ken, I'll have the tickets waiting here at my Airbnb. So no, it's sorry, I can't do that. But anyone that's in Adelaide or anyone that wants to get over from Melbourne that are coming over, we'll be doing the draw. If they can't make it, I'll redraw it again. So we'll keep drawing it until someone
is actually going to shop and use it.
Going to shop up and use it, and they don't have to have boring rides with me. They can hop in with anyone that's got a roll cage, and all they've all got roll cages for this event. So yeah, have I missed anything?
So
that'd be
well, okay. Do you have merchandise as well?
Piss off. Not yet, no.
He's probably about as organised with that as we are.
I might get some old Taxi Drift guy stickers with the guy with his finger up and all that stuff. So I might get some stickers made up, but that's about it. Nah.
What was that YouTube channel again?
Oh, bloody hell!
I was a good boy and I overlaid it on the screen for everybody. So come on,
Did
he only needs one more subscribe. Jump on and subscribe. I even subscribed. Oh, I could do it from the Clutch Kick page.
Well, I got 20 the other day because who's that guy on YouTube? You might know him. Sam.
Yeah.
Sam. So he went live, so I'm watching him, and I wrote down on there, oh, can you give old Taxi Drift guy a bit of a plug? And he says to me, I'll do what you said, Mark, as long as you buy a sticker off me. So I went straight to his site, bought 3 stickers, and he come back on and he said, Mark, get on his channel. So I got 20 subscribers then. So you can't believe how much he lives in Japan, but he's in Australia at the moment. The bloody stickers, I don't know, $20 for 2 of them.
Did you cancel the purchase once he gave you the plug?
I'm not that big an arsehole. I actually like his site. He's got a good channel, that Sam guy. It's good. Samet or whatever his name is.
Oh shit! You're at 100. You're at 102, mate.
102. Oh shit!
And this doesn't even cost you anything.
I might be able to retire pretty soon. Just hang on a minute. I just got to take the key out the cab. It's just stay and park for the night. I'm going to the pub when I finish with you guys.
But I guess the motivation to actually bother to do the YouTube thing is purely just off, and we'd spoken to Jackson about the same thing, just a way of having something to look back upon when you're old and decrepit in about 3 weeks, and you can't do it all anymore.
Absolutely. And the people you meet with it. Like I said, the amount of people that just walked up to me when I'm changing tyres and just said, "Oh, I like your vlogs and stuff," and have a bit of a chat with them. So, that and a bit of a memory. I've got other vlogs too. I've got a few things I haven't told you about me. My other big hobby is playing Texas Hold'em poker. So I was a dealer at the Adelaide Casino for 10 years. I love my poker, and I had a poker vlog going for a year. So that was, I've forgotten what I called that, just Mark Martin Poker, where I'd go through hand reviews and how I played this and how I did all that. And they were hard work doing the hand reviews. So that lasted about a year, and I didn't have that many subscribers. So I stopped doing it because it was too hard. But I still follow probably 7 or 8 poker vloggers from Las Vegas, and I just love watching their shit. They'll go through how they went that night. They'll do hand reviews. So it's just great to improve your poker skills. So that was my first vlogs I started doing. Plus a few out trips.
Did you do much media stuff when you were racing?
No.
So not much there wasn't much in the way of interviews and TV and stuff like that?
Sure. Didn't even have phones back when I was racing.
No, but I mean just like for any of the TV coverage and stuff that the sport was getting?
Oh, not really. Went down to the Springs, I think, once, and we were on the radio up there. And in England you're in the magazines.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So yeah, there's a fair bit on there. So
yeah,
the Poms over in England, they just follow Speedway like it's the best thing in the world. I can go to one of the sites and say, how many points do I score in the Wolverhampton when Canterbury versus Wolverhampton in 1981 on such and such a date, and I'll have 10 blokes all come back within 5 minutes telling me, they say, "Oh, you had a flat tyre in heat 3, and then something else happened." That's just crazy. So it's pretty easy to follow sort of how you went. But as for TV and shit, I was never good enough for any of that sort of stuff.
No, just because you're so comfortable with public speaking and doing the camera stuff, where a lot of people are super reluctant to do it because they're like, "Oh, I feel like I sound like an idiot," or whatever, where you don't seem too fussed on any of it. It's just about enjoying it for what it is.
You keep reminding me about things I haven't told you. Kevin Flynn is on now. So, hey, Kevin, how old are you? I'm guessing you're only about 45, 48. They were asking if we were the same age, Kev, but...
I didn't ask that. EG asked that.
Oh, EG did. So the other thing which I haven't noticed, which you probably would see if you got on my Facebook side, is I'm a part-time stand-up comedian. So I did a fringe show at Adelaide Fringe about 5-6 years ago, just called The Angry Cabbie. So I just tell cab stories and shit, and I still do a show at the Crown and Anchor comedy thing probably once every 5 or 6 weeks, just for a bit of fun. So
Kevin's 55.
Oh, so shit, I told you.
Pretty close. He's
I said
pretty
you were
close.
45, Kevin. Shit, you look young, mate. You look young. Yeah. So I'm still older than him, so I'm happy with that. He's a lot better driver than me, and I didn't want him to be better than me and be older. He's just scared of older people.
Me?
Oh, that's what someone just wrote. I'm set up. I've got it so I can read everything here.
I'm not sure what the comment's referring to, but
I'm just waiting for Mum to come on and say it's past your bedtime. So.
Or your boss to come on until you get back to fucking work.
Hey, I'm a taxi driver. I'm my own boss. I work when I want to.
That's all right then.
That's how it works.
Hey, you're not one of those new age taxi drivers that has Uber installed on his phone as well, right? And picks up fares from both?
Nah, fuck Uber. Allowed to swear on this?
Yeah, we're pretty liberal.
No, I'm not a big Uber fan. I mean,
no, I just know that.
I love driving. Yeah.
No, I just know that I've been in the city once and a friend's gone on and organised an Uber, and then there's a taxi that's come up the road and sort of hung out the window and been like, "Oh, are you so and so that's ordered an Uber?" And we're like, "That's pretty dodgy. This dude's double faring it."
Yeah, they're not supposed to do that, from what I've heard. Yeah, he's been a bit shifty.
Yeah.
Did you put him on? Was that an Indian accent I heard when you did that?
Nah, he was Asian.
Asian, okay.
Don't tell anybody.
Thank fuck there's no Asians on around here.
Nah, the Indian dude will be double shifting it at 7-Eleven.
I've actually got a lot of Indian guys I get on well here. I was also a taxi trainer, so most of the drivers out there I've trained them, so it's all my fault. So
sideways into corners.
That's what I say in my comedy show. Every time I pick up a blind person with a guide dog, I start talking with an Indian accent.
Make
Don't
sure.
know why I do it. I'm scared if I was to talk in my normal accent, they're going to wonder where the fuck they are. They're going to think they've been kidnapped or something. I usually get away with it, okay, but the bloody dog looks up at me like I'm some kind of dickhead.
You're making this difficult, mate. So what's the name of that YouTube channel again? It's just easy to go back to that to keep the conversation going.
Yeah.
Just let you know, it's the shittest YouTube channel out, but we'll give it a crack.
Hey, the shittest YouTube channel is the one that hasn't been started yet.
Yeah, Stu is my #1 fan.
So does he watch it?
Nah, I doubt it.
Ah.
That's why I always have a niggle at him mention him at least once in every video just to see what's happening. But there's never been a reply. I like talking to Stewie about Ackerman and all that sort of stuff.
Have you met Ackerman before?
No, I told him the other day I had a bit of trouble with my Ackerman, last meeting, so I got a hacksaw and cut it in half, so it handled a lot better. So, I got no idea what fucking Ackerman is.
Didn't you play lawn bowls against Ackerman?
That's the square of the hypotenuse of a right-angled triangle is equal to the sum of the squares on the other two sides. It's the only bit I remember maths.
That's the sort of shit that EG should know. I'm too white to understand that.
Should's the correct word.
28 viewers, that's good. You guys usually only got about 5.
No, this is good. We've maintained well. Normally by this stage people are going to bed, but I think people are...
I know what you do, what you miss on yours. You don't give any shout-outs. So, g'day, Benny. You just want to shout out to people. G'day, Mick. Dan Broadway's on. G'day, Dan.
Clearly you brought the people. I only have 4 friends on it, so... only 4 people I know who are watching out of the 26, so...
All good.
So,
right,
so I guess you sold up when Talem closed, and then you bought back up once Talem reopened. Are you going to travel any more than 3 minutes to go drifting?
Oh, come on! I went to Malala the other week. That's
You've done it once.
And I went to Millicent. Millicent was 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
And then he went to Japan, which is like 10 hours.
Yeah, that was a long drive.
But he didn't have to lug a car there, so.
Yeah, but I took my own gearbox just in case.
Really?
Nah.
I've seen some South Australian dudes take some weird shit over, so it just wouldn't surprise me.
We used to bring Speedway engines back in our hand luggage back in the day, though. That was pretty funny.
Motorbike ones, I'm guessing.
Yeah. 500cc bikes, engines. But...
So I guess considering you're clearly up on all things Australian drifting, where do you want to drive the most that you haven't made it to yet?
I know fuck all about most of these tracks. So I don't know. That one the other week that who's that Yankee YouTube channel guy?
Adam LZ.
Adam DZ or something.
Yep.
That track. It's obviously he knows my name, but I don't really know him. That track looked pretty cool up there, so wouldn't mind going up to something like that. And I know a few of those Victorian tracks I watched. I don't know what their names are, but they all look pretty good. So.
And you planning on doing some travel with it?
Not really. I might one day. I get a nosebleed if I get too far out of Talem Bend. So, but we might go over to.
Camp isn't that far away.
Might go. That's South Australia. Age, come on. Yeah. I'll probably go down there, and I wouldn't mind going to Victoria sometime if there's a a group going over, we might go for a bit of a trip. So, but no, I'm not into it that big. I just enjoy getting out and having a drive, and even the comps don't really bother me. I've probably only entered these ones just because they were short on numbers, and I thought we'd go out and have a crack. So, but yeah, just mainly South Australia and that.
And if people offered you cars in other states and you were happy to make the trip, would you fly out places and drive other people's cars, or a bit worried?
Bloody
about the
oath, they offered me a car, but it's a bit hard. They'd have to change the bloody seat. I'd probably bring my own seat. I've got a beanbag I could probably strap in there, but yeah, when I bought this car, I had to take the seat out because my fat ass wouldn't sit in it, and put just an ordinary one in it. But yeah, if someone's got a car for me to drive, I'll go up there for a bit of a laugh.
All right. Well, I'm building a bit of a slut car, so I'm happy for if you're up in New South Wales at some stage. Maybe I'll put the factory seat away, and if you want to take it for a drive, you can take it for a drive.
That sounds cool.
Just don't let anybody from don't let anybody from Canberra drive it. They break your shit.
Yeah.
They're all a bit rough.
You get yours stolen, don't you? Usually, is that what happened? I read something.
Yeah, yeah. When it's not being stolen, I end up letting guys from Canberra drive it, and then it throws legs on the way home, and so yeah.
Greg's jinxed a little bit, I think.
Yeah, pretty much. So let's not talk about it. Let's keep it light and funny.
I thought that was funny.
Far out. Everyone just comes onto the show just to pick on Greg.
Yeah, I think I'm going to put a bull bar on the slut car and come down and ride off his seppi.
That's okay. I don't think you're a good enough driver to catch me.
Well, you got a whole lot more power than me, but my power to weight's probably a bit better.
You calling me fat? Come on.
I know.
I can always lose weight. You'll never be good looking.
Oh, far out. I think you should. Oh, no.
What are you saying? What are you saying? Come on, say it.
No. What was the name of that YouTube channel again?
Old Taxi Drift Guy. Get it up there. And Airbnb. Just go on there, look up Taylor Ben, Mark Martin. Although I'm booked out, so it'll come up as Mark as the host. So, but I'm booked out. So, but in future,
just watch out for the webcams around the building.
Yeah, mainly in the bathroom. That's illegal. Come on, guys.
Have you got another YouTube channel for that?
No, I'd be in bloody jail.
Oh, this has turned many ways that I didn't think this conversation would turn.
And for the guys, if you come up drifting at Tailem Bend and you want to book it in the Airbnb, it's got 3 bedrooms, but I'll take as many as it takes. If you've got 15 of you, we got camping out the back. I'll have wood there for a bonfire for you, and it's the same price whether you've got 3 people or 15 people. So that's just a bit of a plug.
Wow.
If anyone comes across the Tailem Bend and you want to camp or put a caravan in the front yard, bring your speedboat, go skiing. This was a drift vlog one. Sorry,
That's
I'm getting off track.
Well, I was starting to think if there's an event on the Bend the week after Mount Gambier, I'm considering hanging around down there for a week to try and drive that, and just doing the one drive to do 2 events down there. So that might actually.
There you go. You book in early, and I'll give you a discount.
That might be a thing.
I'll put an extra can of beer in the fridge for you. But you got to get in early.
Well, I need to find out. I need to find out dates first, and if there's actually events on.
Stewie will have them up soon. So.
EG, you're not helping me out much here.
No, I'm kind of lost track of where we're going.
I think Maddie asked, "What's your favourite part of drift?"
Shit. Getting it sideways, I suppose. When you're a shit driver like me, when you have that, what I call a perfect run, it's bloody unbelievable. When you can see a bit of smoke out through the back mirrors and stuff. So yeah, no, just being able to get it sideways and be under control, and love it when I crack a good one, which doesn't happen that often. But Yeah, no, and besides that, there's not too many arseholes out there. Everyone comes and helps you and
Except for Stewie.
stuff. So yeah, it's great. Yeah, Stewie comes and helps. He's good. Just
Just
you
because he
don't
comes
want
and
to
helps
get.
doesn't mean he's not an asshole.
No, no, I'm not saying that. He's one of the bosses at SA Drift. Hello to SA Drift. They do a great job, by the way. So I can't put him down, but I don't want him talking to me about steering and stuff because might be with me for a couple of hours there. You know, no, Stewie's a great guy. He's helped me out heaps, given me heaps of info. So anytime I have trouble, I'll send him a message. Him and Simon Mitchell have been great with me. I'd just send them a message and they're always there to help. And, at the track, if something buggers up, if they've got it, they'll help me out. So, and the other guys, the Boogie Nights guys. So if anyone of them are watching, they're bloody great. Matt and Dan, I think Dan was on there before. So when I did my clutch the other time at Tailem Bend, I was ready to pack up and go home on the Saturday. And they said, "No, we'll get it all sorted." So they helped me do it all. So just the people that get out and help you is brilliant.
Do you enjoy the comps more or like the Matsuri festival type events?
Probably more the Matsuris at the moment because, like I said, I'm shit at chasing, but like I'm still young. If I improve, we'll give it a crack. But I enjoy the comp part of it. I just wish I was better at it. But I can usually do my lead run okay. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully, I've only just got back into it after a 3 or 4 year break, so hopefully I can get a little bit better. But I enjoy them both.
So what do you find challenging about chasing?
I don't know. I'm scared I'm going to whack into someone and write their car off, and I don't really want to be that guy. I don't mind getting close. With the speedway, you're touching and banging all the time, but everyone's doing it. There's 4 of you going around the corner all touching each other, but I just don't want to, accidentally T-bone someone and stuff their car up, which is probably a bit soft, but as I get more confident, well, then we'll get closer and closer. I hit Kurt, or young Kurt Starr, and that last vlog I did, that was pretty cool. He's 16 years old, and I said 58, but I'm only 57. He was in a battle with me, and that was bloody great. But his car was playing up, so I managed to beat him. But he was a great guy to talk to. And that last one, I got a bit close, and he straightened, and I went a bit high, and we put a nice dent in my door, which was brilliant. So I did get a bit close then, but
yeah, I think that video's on. I was on Facebook as well.
Yeah, I put everything on Facebook. But yeah, but I'm glad I didn't do anything to his car. I only put a dent in my car, but that was pretty cool being up against a young 16-year-old and a great young kid too. He came up and had a few chats with me. So there's a lot of blokes that wouldn't want to come up and talk to a bloody old man out there. So it's just good that a young guy came up and sat down with me and had a few chats. So yeah, bloody brilliant.
So I guess ambition-wise, you plan like all other Australian drifters. Yeah, I was gonna say is to go to Drift All Stars, then do D1NZ, and then make your way to FD.
I don't understand any of those terms, so I don't follow it enough.
Just agree.
Just say yeah. I do that. Probably go to America and show a few. And who's that bloke that's got that Red Bull thing from New Zealand? He's supposed to be all right, isn't he? So,
yeah, Mad Mitch or whatever his name is.
Mad something. I'd like to give him a crack. So yeah, we've got time ahead of me. We'll be all right.
I feel like
I don't really want to go much further than what I'm doing. Just get out and have a bit of fun. That's about it. But
I feel like we should all be petitioning to try and get Mark a drive at World Time Attack Challenge.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, they should have an over 58s class at the World Drift Championships.
It would just be you and Kichi Tsuchiya, I guess.
No, we got a few coming in now. I think Peter Greaves is talking to me. Was gonna get a car, and Stewie's old man's got his car. Pete's got his going, so Pete's about my age. So there'll probably be 3 oldies pretty soon getting around Adelaide, which is good.
You could start your own federation. It could be called DOC, Drift Old Cunts.
No, I didn't. I didn't know you're allowed to say the C word. I would have said cunt earlier on in the thing, but I got mum watching, so I thought I'd better not say it.
But it's not bad. It's just descriptive.
Yeah, that's right. It's sharp, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
Sharp word. What were we talking about then? I've gone off it.
yeah. About all your ambitions to conquer the
I've
world.
actually got a logo made up, which I was going to make some stickers up called Geriatric Drift Club. So that sounds better, Geriatric Drift Club, and make some stickers up. There's another website. G'day, Nick. Nick Wolfenden's come on. He's a mate of mine. Mick Lewis has been there all day. Sean Hedges, how you going? I'm doing some shout-outs because these guys don't do shout-outs. How you going, guys?
I don't do shout-outs. I just ban people from the chat.
I can't even see who's connected except for my friends on my
we're
screen.
the same.
No, he hadn't written anything. It just comes up as watching. So obviously it's one of my friends that you're not friends with.
Yeah.
Just pokes up. How long you been into computers each?
Depends who you ask.
You haven't worked that out.
Depends who's asking.
Well, on there.
I work in when someone at work asked me, I've been in computers a long time because my job is IT.
Shout out to George. He wants to make it over 40s. You old bastard, George. How old are you, George?
Yeah, but that's all the young ones wanted to come in and just walk all over you, though.
I don't care.
Nah.
I don't think they're good enough.
We could have drift. So Drift Masters, technically, is in Europe is actually about old people, not about not being the best. It's like any other Masters events now. It's you got to be over the age of like 40.
Oh, so that's my brother there, Tony Martin. He shout out to Wainaka. That's where the farm is. Wainaka, a little town back behind Tail and Bend. It's got how many you got in there, Tony? I reckon there's 8 people who live at Wainaka. Big town in the area.
Massive.
I was thinking with the drifting we could combine it over 50, so you do drifting plus you got to play 2 ends of lawn bowls and then go back and do the drifting. Mix it up a little bit. George is 44, so
that's almost Eegee's age. So
you're still too young, George.
Yeah, I think 44.
G'day, Ty Forrestal, how you going, mate? Alex. Obviously, these guys are showing up on my screen and not yours because they're my friends and not yours.
Can't see it.
The things I'm teaching you at the moment.
I can only see 2 mates watching, and that's it.
Nah, if you click watching now, you'll get
mates?
a few more.
Well, you've only got 2 mates on there each.
I've only got 2 mates, yeah.
How have you not given a shout out to Will Chamberlain yet? That's just rude.
Yeah. That's what you're lacking. You've got to give a few shout outs. Can't believe we said the C word. That's unbelievable.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We'll edit it out later. We'll edit it out later. Don't worry.
Yes, Ty. Yeah, Ty. See, Pom. Ty's a speedway guy, races speedway, and his son's just got into dirt karts, so they're doing the dirt karts in Adelaide this weekend, I think. So got a young lad about 7 or 8 years of age. So
have any of those guys seen, so the young guys seen you go drifting, and then have you tried to convince them to swap over to drifting at all?
Nah, they're into their speedway too much. They would have seen the videos, that's about it. So
okay.
Pretty hard to get some of those speedway guys. Once they're in speedway, they're in it for good.
Okay. Yeah, because drifting's, there's a lot of converted people from, and it seems really common for people from a seems like biking, like BMX or motocross or things like that. They'll swap over to drifting, which is interesting.
Yeah. I noticed when I first looked into it, seems to be a lot of BMX guys that were top BMX guys that got into drifting. Or
yeah.
Is that just a few of them? I don't know. It just seemed to be a few American videos I've watched, and they were BMX guys. I know that Adam LZ, he was a BMX, but there's other ones I've seen too that seem to have transferred over from BMX when they were like 18, 20 years of age.
Yeah, see, like even Luke Fink and even Stewie, I'm pretty sure Stewie used to ride BMX just for fun before he got into the cars and stuff like that. So
yeah.
Ty said he'd like to give it a go.
And he reckons he'll crash. So.
Yeah, that's all right. Just put him in your car. It'll be all right.
In his speedway car, he crashes. and usually it's a caught on fire and it's a bit of a panic. Yeah, so
Jesus.
there's a few scary ones, or one scary one Ty had where he's upside down and the bloody mod light's on fire, and yeah, a bit difficult to get out.
Oh,
But,
they'd go.
he
Nah,
got out
but
okay.
he'd get a really good sponsorship deal in a certain drift series in Australia because they encourage that sort of thing because that's how you get more airtime for your sponsors.
That's right. Yeah, I've got heaps of
Crash and
sponsors.
burn.
I've got the Tail and Ben pub.
Uh,
G'day, Dan. Keeping up with the stories? I haven't got that many stories, Dan. The screen's just come up. I haven't had the screen all night on my phone, so I've just seen it. I'm on the left-hand side. So,
you mean you're talking about the live stream?
on my
Okay.
phone, yeah, that's only just popped up.
yeah, I don't know why
Oh.
it comes up hours later. It's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You guys look a lot better on my phone than you do on the laptop's a bit big, I think.
Probably, because it's probably smaller.
It always looks better when you got a squint.
Yeah.
I'm keeping away from that one.
Um, all right, EG, keep this conversation going, mate.
I
What's
don't even
the
know
name of
where
the
we
YouTube channel again? Oh, yeah, Old Taxi Drift Guy. I'll just pipe up with that every time you get a bit of a gap. If you pause more than 2 seconds, I'll just pipe up with
You're at 104.
104. Wow.
Hey, so how much did you pay for those stickers on that other channel?
I don't know yet. It was in yens. 200,000 yens. I think it's about $20 or something.
So you paid that for what? 20 likes.
Yeah, that was all pot luck though. I
Yeah.
like the stickers too.
Yeah, but we got you at least 8 likes so far for nothing. It's cost you absolutely nothing.
So the rewards are infinitely better.
Yeah, so
You
our channel
guys
is our channel is definitely better.
We got Matt on now, one of the Boogie Nights guys that's just come on. So you wouldn't see it because he's not on your thing. G'day, Matt. Matt.
Who are these Boogie Nights guys? Are they another drift crew, or is it?
Just a drift crew, yeah. Bunch of guys. I don't know all of them, but I'm sort of getting to know them. But Matt's one of them, and they're the guys that helped me do my clutch the other week at Tailem. So
Are they a group of friends that?
yeah, I think so.
Right.
Just a group of friends. I think there's probably 6 or 7 of them. Just got the sun sticker on the top of their window with Boogie Nights on it. So Matty Wayne did cost me 2 hours in the bloody Prius. Yeah, I could have been making a fortune in the taxi tonight.
Really, on a Wednesday night?
Hey, I'm good every night.
So it's the extra services.
It's all right because I'll get back out there about midnight, 1 o'clock, so I'll be able to take all the strippers home. So that's okay. They start knocking off about 1, 2 o'clock in Hindley Street. So
And is a surcharge after midnight at all?
nah, all the same.
Oh, okay.
Goes up. We get tariff 2 at 7 o'clock at night, so it goes up at 7 o'clock at night until 6 o'clock in the morning. But it doesn't go up that much.
So if I was in Tail and Ben's and I needed to be driven around anywhere, how do I personally request you to be my driver?
All right, we better start again here, guys. I drive a cab in Adelaide. I live in Tail and Bend.
Okay.
I come down on a Sunday or a Monday and I camp down here in my camper van, which we're in at the moment. So I don't know if that camera can see my dirty van here. And is that working or not?
Yep.
Yep.
That's the bed. I tidied the bed up for you guys. So I've got a Mercedes Sprinter and camp in that. So I come down and drive 4 or 5 nights a week in Adelaide, and then I'm back at Tail and Bend. Have I got that lined up? Tail and Bend Friday mornings about 7:30 in the morning. Have the weekends off and come back again Sunday or Monday.
And that's your tow vehicle as well?
That's the what?
That's
Yeah,
your tow
I use that to
vehicle.
tow you.
I didn't understand what you said then.
You use that for towing.
Towing, yeah. Sorry, towing. It's a lot clearer when you said it, Greg. Yeah,
Fine.
so yeah, Mercedes Sprinter. Mercedes Sprinter. So yeah, I do all my time. The car's actually on the back now because I picked it. It's been down in town at the
tuna.
Tunas.
guys.
Tuna.
Tuna. So I'm just gonna hang on. Is that right?
Are we actually going to see the car, are we?
Here we go. We're going to go for a tour, guys. So that's the
Oh,
thing there.
nice.
I won't drop it too low because I'm not wearing any trousers. So, oh, is that? Can you see? That's the taxi I'm driving tonight.
Yep, I can see that.
That's not a
And
Prius,
yep.
that's a bloody Corolla, mate.
Oh, sorry, that's a Corolla. Yeah, I'm on a Corolla tonight.
Oh,
I was
okay.
testing you, and now we're coming out here.
Is
This is work.
It's
There's the
Frederick
van.
Osbo's I am.
Is that?
Oh, yeah.
Can you see that or not?
Yeah, can you get your
Yeah,
head out of the way
it's
so we can
coming
look at the car, mate?
There we go. That's as good as I can get. I've got to go and plug it back in. So the place I work at is a big training organisation called Access Training Centre. So they do training for forklift trucks, Bobcat, white card, all that sort of shit.
And you got the van color coded to match the taxi as well.
yeah, XDHL van, I think it is, or whatever the company is.
You
yeah,
didn't even have to
yellow.
paint it.
Oh,
No. And I've got so I'm just re-plugging back in here. And it's got an old Taxi Drift Guy sticker on the back too, just to annoy people. Is that the first tour you've done on this show?
I think.
Just say yes.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah,
we've had
we've had Ben
In front of his
Meir
car.
with a car in the background. Yeah,
And Stewie's had a car in the background.
yeah. Oh, actually, he had it above him.
Well, yeah, he was trying to drop that shit on his head. I think he wanted us to see the underside of his Ackerman.
Yeah, I like a bit of Ackerman.
And then I think also early last year we had Dylan Roberts was in his garage, but I don't think we saw the car.
No, we didn't. He had posters and stuff, I think.
Yeah, so I think you've been the first. Oh, that's a bit worrying.
Oh,
That's his
up here.
Something out.
that's his condom jar.
I don't know what. I've got my salt and pepper and stuff up here, so it's a pretty good van. It's got the fridge down here and a couple of solar panels on the roof.
You're well
Good
and truly
setup.
sorted. And you do that trip down just because it's worth more money to be a taxi driver in Adelaide than to do it up at the Bend?
Yep. Mainly because I was also a taxi trainer for 7 years, so I'd drive and also train. But yeah, you could drive a taxi at Murray Bridge, but yeah, I don't think you're going to make quite the money you are in Adelaide. And I've got a good deal here, so I do what they call a shift lease. These blokes I drive for, 4 Italian guys own the Access Training Centre, but they also own 90% of Suburban Taxis, which is one of the main taxi companies in Adelaide. So they also own 100 cabs. And I just do what they call a shift lease, where I pay so much money to use the cab a night and pay for my own fuel. So, and they give me a very cheap deal, and I get to start any time from 4 o'clock onwards, whereas usually you start from 6 and go 6 till 6. But seeing they've got so many cabs, they haven't never got enough drivers, so I can always get an early start. So while I'm down here to do a bit of work.
Yeah, you can earn as much and you earn as much as you can in the, depending on how hard you want to work, sort of thing.
Yeah, well, it's not brilliant money, but like I've had like it cost me, let's say, $80 to run the cab a night. That's including fuel and the lease. Maybe sometimes it costs me $70 if I have a slower night, but I've had probably my best Monday night's been a 600 Monday night, so I've made $500 in one night.
Yeah.
So
Well,
but you can have a bad night for me is turning over 300, so I'm only making $220 in a night. But I'm happy with that. I just enjoy the job. I love it. So most times you're up turning over your $350, $400. So, and it's better than working. I sit in the cab, I drive around, talk to people. When I'm not busy, I'm seeing how many subscribers I've got on YouTube.
Look at the algorithm.
Watching all my other YouTube things I follow. I like to go to the Ackerman site and just to check up on how the Ackerman's going.
The price the price of Ackerman.
Yeah. So.
Somebody's asked what's a taxi plate worth in South Australia? I don't know.
gone down a fair bit at the moment, so probably about 150,000. They were up around 300,000 before Uber came in. So, yeah.
That's just
Wow.
like, is that a one-time purchase thing to get
Yep,
taxi
one
plates?
time
Okay.
first. But most cab drivers you see out there lease the plate.
Yeah.
So you can get into have your own cab business, say for $35,000, buy a Prius, get all set up, and then you lease a plate. So a lot of the plates are owned by doctors and lawyers and things like that. So they just buy them like a house and lease them out.
Like a tax sort of help thing.
Yeah, well, just like buying a house and you make money out of it.
Oh, I didn't think it worked like that. I just thought it was big companies bought a whole bunch of them and then.
Yeah.
Not many companies own their own cabs. This one that I do now, but they own the cabs through another side business. So I think Yellow's cabs own a few cabs these days, but most of them don't own many cabs. They're all all privately owned. So most cabs you'll see out there, it'll be the owner owns the car, but he leases the plate. And most actual drivers you see out there are just working for someone, and they just go 50-50. So most drivers will just go 50-50 because there's no use going on a shift lease unless you're a good driver. And there's a huge difference between the good cabbies and the bad cabbies.
Yeah.
So you don't want to go 50-50, go do a shift lease where it costs you $80-90 to run the cab for the night, and you only turn over $100, and a new driver might only turn over $100. So he's worked 12 hours to make bloody, $10. Whereas if you go 50-50 and you stuff up and you're a shit driver and you only turn over 120, you're still going to make 60. But a good driver's going to turn over their 350, 400 a night. So, and that's during the week. On the weekends, a good driver on a Saturday night. Back in the day when it was good, when I used to do Saturday nights, maybe my average was $700 I'd turn over. But obviously your lease costs a lot more then too. So it'd cost me $200 to lease the cab for the night.
Yeah.
Still not bad money if you like it, but it's one of those games, you either love it or you hate it. So I get a lot of people saying, shit, how can you do this shit job? But I love it. It's the best job I've ever had.
Yeah, it comes down to personality. Some people are just way too lazy and just want to be able to show up and get paid their check at the end of the night and be guaranteed it, as opposed to taking the risk and actually having to do some proper work.
Well, they're all expecting $30 an hour these days. I had a guy come through the training course only a couple of months ago when I was training, an Aussie guy, and he came back in after one shift and he actually had a good night. He turned over $180 on his first night, which isn't too bad. So he still made his $90. And but no, I'm not doing this. I thought I was going to make $30 an hour and all this shit. And, it's not that sort of a job. But for freedom and work when you want to, do what you want to do, knock off when you want to. If I want to have a week off, I have a week off. If I want to make $2,000 a week, I can. If I want to do 7 nights a week, so the options are there.
Yeah, and I guess we won't speak about it too much, but do you feel like since that other company came in, that people have taken more pride in trying to clean up the industry a little bit more to try and stop people from just using? Because I know Sydney was pretty gross. You'd get in your vinyl taxis and all that sort of stuff, and when Uber came along, it sort of, I think it's cleaned up a little bit more. You're not getting your 700,000 K AU Falcons anymore and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it probably has helped a bit, but Adelaide's been pretty strict anyway. All cabs have to be checked every 6 months and stuff like that. You're only allowed to have a cab for 6.5 years in South Australia, so then you've got to get a new one. So it's been pretty good, but it probably has tightened it up a bit. The worst thing, though, you used to do a week-long taxi course. That's why I don't train anymore, because it's all going online now. So the taxi drivers used to actually get trained. Now Uber's come in, they fill out some form, and I don't know, there's probably some Uber drivers watching, but they can pretty much get their license within a day with no training or anything.
That's how you get a truck license in New South Wales. Like, we've had a whole bunch of people come from overseas and then they don't know the height of their truck and then block tunnels or rip tunnels to shreds. So
yeah, well, they had to make it easier. Now taxis is like a day course for some companies, 2-day course, and they had to do that because all the taxi owners didn't have any drivers. So they might have had their little fleet of 7 cabs or 5 or 6 cabs, and they need 20 drivers to keep them running, and they just couldn't get any drivers because they're all going to Uber. But I think you're stupid going to Uber. You can go and drive a cab and make twice as much as an Uber driver. You haven't got any wear and tear on your car.
Your own shit,
Don't
yeah.
have to worry about it. You're driving someone else. I used to get at least one Uber driver in every taxi course I did come in and do it. And I'd always talk to them, why are you doing the taxi course? And they'd say, oh, it's no good. They treat me like shit and I'm wear and tear on my car. So, but
Yeah, they sell the dream and it's not necessarily the dream. I've watched a few YouTube things just about all those internet startup stuffs like your Uber Eats or going around and charging, the Lime scooters. Like you can get paid to,
yeah, find the Lime scooters and charge the batteries up.
So yeah, it's
We had in Adelaide during the Fringe about 5 weeks ago. There's a van that goes around and picks up all the Lime scooters and replaces them. And the bird driving at Main Street in Adelaide at 3 o'clock in the morning, she went through a red light, got hit by a bloody four-wheel drive, and ended up on its side. So,
When you say Lime scooters, what are they?
they're hire scooters. You haven't
Yeah.
probably got them in Melbourne. You're a bit behind in Melbourne, but
no, he's in
Canberra.
Canberra.
Oh, sorry.
Rural.
They're just scooters that you're on the side.
Regional.
They're on the side of the road everywhere, and you fill out an app and you hop onto them, and I don't know what it costs you per minute or 5 minutes, and yeah, you got your own electric scooter.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you can get
They're
paid,
just parked everywhere.
and you can get paid at night time to go pick them up, charge them overnight, and then drop them back into a location. But I've watched some videos of it, and by the time you've covered your costs for electricity, the amount of time it takes you, I think you earn about $3 an hour or something.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah, human beings are a bit stupid, and some of these things are finding a way to exploit the fact that human beings are really stupid.
Yeah.
And
So
most weekends there's someone getting picked up for drunk driving on them too, because they get there on the Saturday night and they see them and they're half cut and they hop on them and the cops get them. There's been a few in the paper that have lost their licenses, their car licenses, because they were drunk on them.
I think people should be allowed to. It's natural selection. Simple as that.
Is that in the car as well?
So I think we're almost 2 hours in. If people have questions, I know people have been pumping through some questions already, but if you've got any questions, start dropping them in the comments so we can start getting through them, and then we'll, yeah, probably all of us are old and we need some sleep at some stage.
Doesn't time fly when you're having fun? Shit, that didn't seem
Actually,
like...
I think Mark's probably gonna go back to work again anyway.
Oh yeah, he's got to make up for the money he's lost talking to us about shit.
Yeah.
Let me know when you're going to come for the Airbnb. I need to put about 30% on it to make up for tonight.
I'll
Is
let
it
you know.
after the discount that you're gonna give Greg?
Yeah, no, that's changed now. I didn't know we've been here for 2 bloody hours.
That's all right. EG's gonna come down and get a taxi fare with you. Drive him around for 4 hours, tie him up, and put him in the boot.
I wouldn't even be able to afford it.
That's all right. Your kidneys are worth
You
some money.
must be about 5 minutes slow on my phone because it's showing me out the back with the taxi at the moment. So I don't know what's going on there. That's a bit weird.
It's probably
It's probably just delayed.
yeah, probably lagged a little bit.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm sure we'll get some questions soon. So, is there anything else that you want to bring up? Because you've had such a interesting beginning to life, I guess.
Beginning, yeah. It's coming to a close end. So, no, not really. Yeah, I just enjoy doing things. Probably the next main thing I want to do besides the flying is my big ambition is to buy a little houseboat, and I'm going to do a trip from the mouth of the Murray right up as far as I can go, Yarrawonga or whatever it is, up through there. So there's some people that have just done the trip now, calling into Taylor Men tomorrow, that have done it in 6 months, and so they've been travelling for 6 months. So I want to do it over 2 or 3 years. So just semi-retire, hop in a houseboat, video it, start another YouTube channel up, and I'll let you guys know about it.
Well, wouldn't you just
So-
transition? You just transition the other one.
No, I think it needs to be separate because I might shoot back and do a bit of drifting. So you got different audiences.
Yeah. Oh, you sound like bloody Hoonigan. Too many bloody channels going now and all this sort of stuff.
We'll see. I might listen to you. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's probably the main thing I want to do in the next few years. Just piss off in a little boat and try and live off the land a bit. And obviously, I want to. Been driving cabs for too bloody long, and I'm a fat bastard. So it's too easy to drive through McDonald's and shit when you're in a taxi, and a lot harder if I'm in a houseboat because I don't know of any drive-through McDonald's on the River Murray at the moment. So that'll just need to change your lifestyle, so it'll be good.
I don't know how big they are. Do they? You can't put a car in there, I'm guessing.
Oh, you could if you wanted to, if you had a big one, but to get through where I want to go, it gets pretty narrow up there. So this mob that are coming down from New South Wales at the moment, and they get to Tailem Bend tomorrow, which I've been following them on Facebook. Theirs is like a flat bottom tinny, but it can fit onto a trailer, and you need that because there's a couple of narrow spots right up like at Tooleybuck and areas like that where you wouldn't get a big houseboat through. So it needs to be narrow, and there's a flat bottom one, so it only goes 300 mil under the water. So you also need something with a shallow, so it's fairly shallow in the water. So otherwise you're just not going to get up where you want to get. Plus they're a lot cheaper. So yeah, that one, if you want to check the houseboat that they're using, their YouTube. Not YouTube, the Facebook site's just Crack a Can, starting with K, because this bloke likes having a few beers. So the actual houseboat's called Crack a Can, starts with a big K on the front, Crack a Can. So that great videos and that he puts on there. So that's the sort of... Yeah.
What was your YouTube channel again?
Hang on, I'm just going to have to look it up. I've forgotten it.
Well,
okay.
You're taking this now, aren't you?
So one of our avid listeners, Benny, has asked, how long have you done comedy and would you travel doing it?
Well, I would. I'm not that bloody funny, but I started about probably 6 years ago, but I did have a gap. I did the iconic comedian in Adelaide, probably for the last 40 years, was a guy called Dave Flanagan, and he had a comedy store in the city called the Comedy Sellers, and he does comedy schools and that. And I actually did his comedy school, and after our class, I got put on his Saturday night show pretty well straight away, and he'd have a Saturday night. So I mainly worked at the Comedy Sellers, which is probably the best room I ever worked. Downstairs, dingy, dark, held about 280 people. But just a great little comedy thing. And it probably sounds scary having 280 people, but it's a lot better having 280 than just having 20, because there's a better chance that someone in that audience is going to laugh at you. So the more people, the more chance you've got of laughing. So anyway, I used to work there, and I used to do a couple of others at other places like the Rhino Room, which is sort of well known in Adelaide, and a couple of others. But then Dave Flanagan he died, I don't know, probably 3 years ago, and the comedy store got shut down, or the Comedy Sellers got shut down. So I sort of stopped there for a little while, because it's just such a cliquey little thing, comedy in Adelaide. It's all run by uni students and stuff. So if you worked at the comedy at the Rhino Room, they didn't like you working at the Comedy Sellers, and then if you worked somewhere else, they didn't like you working there. And if you're an old guy and you were funnier than them, they didn't like putting you on. So it just got all too cliquey for me, so I just gave it a miss. And now it's only been the last year and a half I've found a guy, Ross Voss, who runs the Cranker Comedy at the Crown and Anchor Hotel every Tuesday night. And I just told him, look, if I can get on once every 4 or 5 weeks, I'm happy. That's enough for me, just getting a little bit of a thrill. So that's all I do at the moment. So just a bit of fun. But no,
do you get hecklers there?
Yeah, a few. But the good thing about taxi stories is most people can know it, sort of can relate to it. So very rarely I'd get a bad show. So most people can relate to all the taxi stories and all that sort of stuff. So every now and again, but I'm not that good with my heckle lines back. I've got sort of a few, but most times Dave Flanagan would tell you just ignore them, and you're sort of right. So, but yeah, so I usually just come on as the last Australian taxi driver left in Adelaide. That's sort of me, how I start off, and I just telling them that you got the angry cabbie tonight. I'm going to tell you all the things that piss me off about being a cab driver. So just my opening line is I usually say the main thing that pisses me off is customers. Every time you guys get in the cab, you ask the same bloody questions. How's your night been? What time did you get started? Have you been busy? And I say, as if any of you guys give a fuck. So what I do now, as soon as someone gets in the cab, I tell them straight off, I'm having a good night. I started at 6. I've been busy. I've been driving a cab. Blood group's A positive. I got circumcised at birth. I'm knocking off at 6 in the morning. Now sit down and shut the fuck up.
While I watch YouTube.
That's my little one at the start there. So, and then I just talk about shit that happens in the cab. So, bit of fun.
So another question is, what's the weirdest thing that's happened to you in a taxi or in your taxi?
Probably the guy that lost his glass eye. He was showing me his glass eye and he dropped it off the floor. So then we had to bloody pull over, and I've got photos of it because obviously I like taking photos. And he dropped it on the floor, and we're about 5 minutes looking under the seat, and we eventually found his glass eye, and he was a pretty rough-looking bloke, this guy. And then we get him back to where he's staying. He lost the bloody thing again, so we're another 5 minutes looking for his glass eye, and ended up he put it in his pocket. So that was a bit weird. I don't know. It's just people being sick in the cab and people
Why
having
wouldn't you put it back?
Yeah, I don't know. He just put it back in his pocket. I don't know. Blokes getting head jobs in the back seat and shit like that, and lesbians going for it in the back seat. So just your normal.
Just your normal Saturday night.
Yeah, normally the Saturday nights and all that shit's happening. But I've been pretty lucky. I think I've been hit twice. I haven't really had any real big problems, but I love all that shit anyway, so it doesn't bother me.
Anybody famous? Most famous person?
Oh, I've had Sam Newman in there a couple of times, so he's not really famous, but Sam Newman.
That's when you're hitting people as opposed to you being hit.
Yeah.
EG probably doesn't even know what a Sam Newman is, but
Sam Newman, Aussie Rules, guy used to be on the footy show.
No. The footy show here is not Aussie Rules, it's NRL.
yeah.
So a few Aussie Rules footy players, nothing really. Shane Gould, the old swimmer, had her in there once. And
she's not only famous for the swimming, she won Aussie Survivor last year.
Yeah, I don't watch much TV these days, so yeah, I had her in years ago. Yvonne Goolagong, the Aborigine tennis player. So I'm just looking here, William James, and did you ever drive from the city to Gawler about 10 years ago? I probably did, Will. You're not the guy that did the runner on me, are you, Will?
So with
owe me $90, you bastard.
Yeah, but that's $90 that many years ago. So what's it worth now?
Oh,
I'd be going after him.
It was probably $60 back then. It's about $100 these days to get to.
Yeah, but with inflation and all that sort of stuff, he probably owes you like $6,000.
Yeah, 7. No, yeah, you can have that one, Will. That's good. Yeah, so I know there's probably a few might pop up later, but I can't. No one really famous. They get in Uber, the famous people, or hire cars.
Yeah, but I just meant over the years if there was anybody famous before Uber came along.
A few football players and stuff, that's about it.
Oh, if the rugby league players, they would have been doing bad shit, so.
Yeah. We don't know what rugby is down in South Australia.
Do you have a taxi story page?
Oh, I did start.
Also...
I did start one somewhere. But there's what's that? I'll think about it. I have got a YouTube page there somewhere. I don't know what it's called though.
And there was some sort of question a bit before about your cover photo as well.
No, that was about the comedy stuff.
Oh, okay. All right.
You clearly didn't go and look, did you?
I
co-
no,
You're
I
bloody
did not
crappy
look
at
at
editing
his.
I think the cover
investigative
photo is
journalism.
from Tell them about your taxi story. But yeah, well, I'm trying to think about it, Mick. Usually I just do my taxi stories on my Facebook, so I'll just come up with taxi story 365 or some bullshit. And hey, Age is watching. That's good. Just come up on here. Age is watching.
No, it's because I flick between windows.
All right, yeah, I know that. I'm just having a go. Yeah, I'll
Give me a
try.
shout out.
Might be old taxi drift guy on face. No, we've got that one. I don't know. Next time you do a show, I'll poke my nose in and I'll just.
Okay.
I have got a YouTube channel there somewhere, but I've forgotten what I called it. I might just have a quick look, but yeah. No, I don't know what it was. I did start a page, but it was pretty shit. So just filming a few weirdos that hopped in the cab, and so.
Oh, you filmed it.
Yeah, I've had.
So imagining it's like a text sort of thing, like you just.
Well, I'd tell the stories on Facebook, but for a while there, I had a GoPro in the camera, but I'd never show their face. So I'd just have it hooked up and sort of looking at me, but you could hear them talking. But I had one guy in there one day that just wouldn't shut the fuck up, and I've got the camera. I did have the camera on him because I thought stuff him, and just the whole trip, yap. Probably a bit like me tonight, but yap, and yeah.
You would probably, that would probably actually be a pretty good YouTube channel, because I've fallen onto this YouTube channel, and I shit you not, it's of this loading dock area of some business in the States, and it's literally.
Oh, is this with the 5 car parks and they get towed away?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that. The guy comes on and actually explains it.
Yeah, and it's just people getting towed and getting the shits and coming back and realizing their car's gone and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And there's no sound or anything like that, because the cameras don't have audio. But I don't know. I find it entertaining because
counter.
Yeah.
He has a counter of caught and towed away and got away or something like that.
Oh, this might be a different one. I don't know, but it's pretty hilarious just to see the people come back after 2 hours and be like, well, where the fuck did my car go?
Yeah.
And just, again, humans are fucking stupid.
Sorry,
I think he's looking for that Facebook page, YouTube channel.
I've forgotten what I called it now. It was Mark Martin Taxi or something like that.
I'm sure we can find it. You should link it between other YouTube.
I haven't used it for months, so I just got a bit sick of it. I started doing my drift ones.
Oh, you've got more people on your poker vlogging than you do on your.
Yeah, how many I got on there? I haven't checked it. I've stopped the poker one though.
You got 140 on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's this one.
I enjoyed those, but it's just hard doing it living in Adelaide or being in Adelaide, because I'm at the same casino all the time when I'm videoing it and everything. Whereas the poker vloggers in America, they're at Vegas, they're at different casinos, so they're a lot more interested than mine. So it was pretty hard to get followers, but I enjoy following it. The poker vloggers in America. That's usually what I'm watching in the taxi most night if I'm not playing poker on my phone in between fares.
There's a video of you here on NASCAR's YouTube channel. You're taking.
You've found Mark Martin, the NASCAR driver, haven't you?
You're doing a lap of Michigan here, mate.
Yeah. He was a good driver, that Mark Martin. Half my Facebook friends thought I was him. That's the only reason they joined friends with me from America.
There you go, mate.
He was sponsored by Viagra too. What is he in the number 9?
No. So he's in just a new Mustang or something, and he looks about your age from his wrinkly old hands, mate.
Yeah. He actually looks fitter than me, but he's about 10 years older.
But yeah, I guess we're pretty deep into this one. Anybody you want to give shout outs to that isn't in the chat and sort of helping you out over the years and stuff like that?
Smedley's tyre service at Tail and Bend, all through my speedway, and that sort of always helps me out, just coming along to meetings with me, and back in the speedway days sponsoring me a few tyres and stuff, and always got their workshop and that to use. Frank from the Tail and Bend pub, he gave me a couple $100 the other week, so I think he's made a lot more than that with the money I've spent at the pub. But yeah, probably Frank at the Tailem Bend pub and Smedley's Tyre Service at Tailem Bend. So if you ever need any tyres or shit done, if you're travelling through Tailem on your way to Melbourne, he's the man to see. So that's about it, really.
And plug your YouTube channel, Facebook,
Instagram.
Okay, old taxi.
Instagram, Snapchat.
I don't even know what my Instagram one is. Just look up Mark Martin.
Yeah,
I've got no idea.
I think you're just Mark Martin on the grams.
Check old taxi drift guy out. Join me on Facebook. Facebook, I usually just come on and do a few taxi stories whenever anything happens on there and talk a bit of bullshit. I'm more of those ones on Facebook that thinks Facebook should be for a bit of fun and a bit of a laugh. So never really get serious like some people do on there. So join up on Facebook.
Yeah, Instagram. I think you'll be able to find him is Mark Martin 66, or if you type in old taxi drift guy, then you'll probably find him as well. So jump on there and give him a follow. He doesn't post very much on there. He's about as good at posting on that as we are with using our.
Is that the Instagram one?
Yeah, that's your Instagram
Yeah.
one.
I'm starting to do a little bit more on that, but yeah, it's too hard for the old fella.
Yeah, Instagram.
It's where the kids are hanging out. Yeah.
So then the next time you're driving is the next round of.
Yep, 13th of April
Yep.
on my birthday. Did I mention it was my birthday on that day, the 13th of April? So that's Saturday. So
that's your 65th
Expecting
retirement age birthday.
Well, I've forgotten how old I am now. I thought 58. I'm 2 years in a row, 58. Yeah, I'm glad that's a late start because Friday night in the Riverside Hotel, not the Riverside, I usually go to the Main Street Hotel, could be big. So if you get there early for Tailem Bend, guys, come to the Main Street Hotel, which is the one off the highway back over by the railway line. I'll be in there with a few mates making an idiot of myself. So
Yeah,
I
guess if Matty wants to try and get back ahead of you or whatever in the championship, he's probably best to show up and buy you a few drinks to put you out.
Absolutely. Or the only other way to get in front of me, just turn up and drive. It's going to be pretty easy.
I'm just trying to find a way to get you sponsored on drinks, mate.
And I actually hate driving when I've got a hangover. So, but we've got a late start that day, so it's okay.
Honestly, all these SA drivers. When I did my first DCA event, and it was Tasmania, and I'm on the boat with Stewie and Tom Hemmings and all these guys. They told me that they literally drive better when they're hungover. Their best results have been that when they've had a big night the night before.
Yeah.
And they weren't joking, which is a bit scary.
I'll have to give it a crack then, see how we go. So I'll be back to you next on
whatever that
April
week is.
13th, that evening, and I'll be bloody texting you and saying that didn't fucking work. I feel shit. We'll give it a crack.
And your yellow car literally looks like a banana.
See, I don't even know half these top guys in South Australia. All those guys will be thinking, what's this bloody stupid fat guy doing on this show? How come I'm not on it? I'm with you guys. I don't know. I think they just want to talk to the old guy. So
I think your daughter's just made an appearance in the comments.
Gemma, I've just turned off. Hello, Gemma. Gemma's in Melbourne. Works at Flight Centre in Melbourne, but was at Bendigo there for a while. So you're coming at the right time, Gemma. I've got my phone turned off, so I can't see any messages now. So you're coming at the right time, Gemma, because these guys are the worst two interviewers I've ever bloody seen. It's been just joking.
Then Brett Ireland is looking for slow cooker recipes, but I'm imagining that's an inside joke, and that could probably go for hours.
No, I can make that pretty quick. Glad you reminded me of that. I went on this slow cooker site once, like all these ladies got their slow cooker sites on YouTube, on Facebook. So I went on this one and you had to get accepted and all this bullshit. And I did this really long recipe about bloody cooking a fox. And it went for ages. Like I found the fox on the side of the road and all this bullshit. So it's pretty disgusting. But I had so many people laugh. All these women saying, "Oh, this is brilliant." They were all laughing. But the lady that liked the show deleted me and kicked me out of the slow cooker. So that was the worldwide slow cooker site. So then I joined up on the, I don't know, the Australian slow cooker site, and I used to do a stupid meal every Friday when I was half cut going before we went to the pub. So, and yeah, I got a lot more followers on that. Should have kept it that one. I could have got lucky on that one.
If you combined
What the
all your
hell?
things together, you would have had a whole bunch of people just watching it.
I could have been
No,
married
it probably has.
again.
Yeah.
That's not going to fucking happen.
Oh, come on, mate. You could have you could have been like the original Adam LZ.
Yeah, yeah. We're a bit younger to do that shit. I think he puts out too many bloody vlogs. I can't keep up with him. I
Yeah.
reckon just once a month. Don't forget to check out my favourite vlog. I told you one before, Sailing La Vega Bond, the two Aussie people travelling around the world, young bloke and his missus on a catamaran. Bloody love that vlog. He's always spear fishing and cooking up stuff. Wish I was young enough to do that. Making a living off that. They've only got about 1 million followers on Facebook.
Yeah, but when you live a cheap lifestyle, it's all doable. So
Is it all fun? Are they really enjoying themselves?
yeah, probably
think they
not.
are.
But you know,
She's hot as fuck. He doesn't have to work.
Is that the one where they post up on Vimeo that they can't post up on YouTube?
Vimeo, yeah, that's a spot like YouTube, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, but like they can't post, like there's community standards on YouTube that you can't really post. They don't have as strict standards on Vimeo.
Yeah, I'm
Not sure? Okay,
No.
that's all right. I
I
thought you were insinuating something, but that's all right.
think I have got a Vimeo account too somewhere.
That was really popular a while ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I've got an account there somewhere, but yeah.
Okay.
Got my phone back on now. You still there, Gemma?
You should be able to
It'll
tell
take
by
a
your
while.
friends list.
Yeah. Shit, we dropped 2 hours and we've dropped down to 7. That's still twice as many as what you usually get.
It's 17. We play nice.
17. I did say 17.
You said-
Must be my.
I thought you said 7, and I was like, hey, come on, don't be that rough.
17. 17. Yep, Gemma's still there. She's got a Great Dane. She'd be sitting in the lounge with the Great Dane there in Melbourne, having a bit of a look. When I do my comedy stuff, she's the one I ring up to see if it's funny or not. She loves all that sort of shit, and 99% of the time, she just says it's not funny, Dad.
She's supposed to laugh. She's your daughter.
Supposed to laugh because it's your dad.
I guess anything else you wanna plug before we wrap it up, or
Have I mentioned my YouTube channel?
no? You haven't mentioned the YouTube channel.
It's the most I've ever seen Eej laugh. Eej is a funny word. I can't pronounce it. Eej.
Yeah, I said it was all right because it's not the. I think I did explain it a few shows ago, but it's just what people call me because the correct pronunciation is AG.
Be a lot
And
better
you've got
if you put an L in front of it. It'd be a lot easier.
Luigi.
Luigi comes out smoother.
I expect you in a fucking
But they
green.
don't
I
have that
expect you in a
L
green hat
sound
next week.
They don't have that L sound in Japan though.
And next time I'm in my cab watching your show, make sure you do a shout out. I hate it when I'm coming on. I say hello and not a word. Not a word. Say, g'day, Mark. How you going? That's all. It doesn't take much, guys. A little
All right.
shout out makes my night. That's why I'm giving shout outs here. Got Kevin Flynn.
right.
But what about the
back on.
people who listen to it after? Like, then we feel
That's
bad.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's all right. We've got to keep the live lot going and shout out to everyone that listens to it after. Check out my YouTube channel.
All right. Okay. So I think that's.
Yeah, I think we'll
How
wrap
long
it
we been
there.
bloody going? 7,
Um,
8, 30.
about 2 hours.
Yeah, at least 2
We're
hours
gonna get
now.
a
so-
bill. We're gonna get a 2-hour taxi bill.
Shit, I was pretty sure we were going to be finished after about 15 minutes. So
Ah,
I'm
you,
surprised
you,
it lasted this long.
you've carried this episode, mate. So, yeah, let's wrap this one up. I'm sure we'll get you back on at some stage after you've dominated the L2 series this year, and then we've got to then we're going to convince you to make the trek down to Mount Gambier. If you're tossing up whether or
Well,
not to do it, you should just show up and do it, because yeah, it's probably one of the best events in the
now
country,
you
or the
guys have
best
told
event.
me I'll get down there and definitely be there. It'll be good.
Yeah, definitely a good fun event.
Do you know what date that is?
Uh,
They something about it on.
so again, it's not public, but rumor has it that it's like the 25th, 26th, 27th of October is when they're trying to get it.
So if it's a secret, I might as well put it on my YouTube channel.
Yep. But I think they're just waiting for the council to confirm those dates.
So October, did you say?
Yep, October.
So that's about the date of the V8s, I reckon, at Tail and Bend. That's good because my place is all booked out. So I might as well pitch off.
Need somewhere to go.
Yep, that's not bad. $4.50 a night for the V8s. So I'd slip that one in. That'll nearly cover my entry fee for Mount Gambier.
Entry fee I think is only going to be about $300, so for 3 days, so should be good to go.
Yep, no, well, I'll definitely get down there, guys, so we can meet up and have a couple of beers. And if I stick it in the fence, it's your fault.
You gotta be doing some silly shit to hit the fence throughout, or being involved in a few big trains. Sadly that's not when the Bend is on. The Bend's in August. You're a month early, or 2 months early actually.
What's that? The V8s?
The V8s are at the Bend on the 23rd to the 25th of August. Gold Coast 600 is that weekend.
So October.
Yeah.
You said? Yeah, yep. No, that's all cool.
All right.
Cool.
So I will switch this over, and yeah, we'll catch you guys next week. I don't know if we have anybody planned yet, but yeah, D1NZ this weekend. I'm not sure what else is going on this weekend, but yeah, sort of leading into a big week of drifting the week after with the start of the FD season. So I'm sure we'll have some comments on that. Need you won't have watched it, so I'll be talking on my own. So yeah,
I'll make an effort to watch it. I'll have to make an effort.
Yeah, so thanks to Mark for coming on. You've probably maintained, other than Stewie, you probably had the second most viewers as a consistent number throughout the show. So thanks for coming on, and yeah, we'll catch you guys next week.
Thanks, guys. Enjoyed it. Thank you.
See you guys.
See you later. Old Taxi.